Hey, what's your last week saying?
Yeah, feel alright, man.
Yeah.
Alright, still tired, bro.
Oh.
As per, I've been saying it for time. I just need like rest, basically, innit? Like I want to unplug and go away and just have a time to just relax and reflect. Unplug, bro. Unplug.
What's a good length of time?
I feel like a week, but realistically, I don't think I could do like a week. Maybe like a weekend, like a long weekend or something like that. Yeah, man. I'm by myself.
Yeah.
Because I haven't done one of those solo sorts of trips still, and it's very on brand for me to do that.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? But I haven't actually done a solo trip like abroad.
Oh, you haven't done one at all? Or you haven't done one in a while?
I used to do like Airbnbs. So I'll do Airbnb for like a couple of days by myself.
Nice.
I haven't done that since maybe like 2022 or something like that.
Yeah.
So like go abroad somewhere. And I wanted to be like scenic and do you get me? I wanted to
When was the last
place?
When was the last place you went to?
Would you Airbnb?
No, like solo trip.
No, I've never done a solo trip.
Oh,
Yeah,
The solo trips were the Airbnb.
Oh, so you done? Oh, so you used like you will do the Airbnb
Airbnbs
thing,
before,
and then
yeah.
that's like a solo time away.
Yeah. But now I want it to
decompress.
be like away.
Away.
Yeah. Mountains.
Away,
I want to wake up in the morning,
away.
look out and just see.
Yeah.
the
What
mountains,
country
somewhere
does that?
water
Like
or something.
Sweden?
Yeah,
Norway,
them
them
places,
places.
yeah.
Yeah.
But even if you
But just it
go,
all needs to make sense.
even if you go Lake District,
I know.
Sounds so boring.
That's what I'm saying. I want to fly
you'll
out.
find somewhere up there that's got a
That's
cabin. It's got like
Yeah.
scenery,
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
grass.
That's true.
We're gonna do like play Ludo on your ones.
Nah, I'm gonna go with my notes.
You know, you just swap places. Just be like,
Have you done solo trips before?
solo. Yeah, once actually. I think I've been done once.
So what did you do?
I think I went to like Tenerife or something
No, but what did you do when you was there though?
when I was there. I read on
Same.
like, it was
I
like
know she
hot.
went to the House of Parliament there, boy.
No. I just read a book, but I finished the book. I read a book. It was good. It was just one of those ones where it was like around September. I think September you feel the weight of the year, and you're like, it's either you go now or you don't go again, or you wait until December. So I was like, let me just quickly go out, and it was still hot. But yeah, no, definitely recommend. Nice, but it's just getting the length of time right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think maybe like a long week, 3-4 days, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
So,
The last one I went to was when I went Copenhagen. I haven't been in time.
that was a while ago.
That was
wasn't
a
it?
while.
Like 2018,
Yeah, that was
19.
a while ago. I haven't been in time, but that was good though.
What was that? A solo trip?
Yeah.
And it wasn't work
Nah.
related.
Just went. Yeah, man. Just went. Expensive though.
Why do people like these European city
I
things?
don't
Do you know what it
Yeah,
is?
it's a quick thing. That's why.
It's quick, man.
But does it feel like London just in a different country?
It doesn't, it doesn't. People are happier. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't. People are happier there. Do you get me? So you don't get the London vibe bro, when you're out there.
Yeah, fair.
Like,
Fair enough.
obviously, it's good as well because transport is easy. It's easy to get around. They got like a 24-hour kind of train line. You can get up and down the city quick. And there's lots of things to do as well, man. It's just good vibes. Do you know what I mean? So, to be fair, I didn't know much about it. I just said that was cheap for it.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, how did you even choose like Copenhagen? Because it's
You know the one sometimes on Skyscanner you can put like anywhere and then you
Yeah.
look at the prices. Isn't it? And that's, so Copenhagen wasn't too far down the list. So I thought, why not? Like, let me try it out. I do want to go to more of the Nordic countries and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, just touched it. But it was good.
What was the
Good.
weather?
Well, it wasn't really that warm. I'll say it was all right. Probably about 18, 19.
That's
Yeah,
okay, yeah,
it's
cool.
not bad.
It was all right. Like, it wasn't cold in it, but it wasn't warm. But it's funny because that was my first solo trip. And when you're walking around and you're eating, you're just like,
Yeah.
and I feel that back then, it sounds dumb, but not everybody had Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So sometimes I'm sitting down here and I'm eating pizza and that, and you're just looking around.
chilling.
Like,
Yeah.
get me? You're looking at your phone, but you're looking at nothing.
Nothing.
You get me? Like, look at your photo album. You're just scrolling through like 4 videos and that.
That's
But
what I need, man. I need a break.
it was good though.
Yeah.
I need a break still. Even when you're just talking about it in terms of like, not silence, innit? But like you're by yourself.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
no distraction like for like internet and all that sort of stuff.
Mm.
So you're actually alone with like your thoughts and that.
Yeah,
Do you know
yeah.
what I mean? So you actually have to think.
Yeah.
That's what I need it still.
Yeah, Cotswolds as well. People,
No.
people
But them places are pricey, man.
Yeah, prices.
They're pricey, fam. That's the thing. I need to go somewhere for like £100.
Yeah. What's mad as well is that traveling now is cheaper than doing a staycation in the UK.
Yeah.
That's true.
Like,
That's true.
staycation in the UK is
so
crazy.
That's true still.
I know, facts.
That's crazy in
It's,
itself.
bro, it's
Yeah.
crazy. We wanted to do a staycation recently. I think they were telling me
It
it
is-
was like
In
$390.
this blasted country, you can't even find rest. No, that is funny still, I can't lie.
It's part of it still. But I feel like you go up north. That's what
It's cheaper out there.
It's cheaper up there still.
Mm.
But
I ain't even been up north like that, you know.
I'm done.
Only
That's still.
Manchester.
That's good up there still.
No further than Manchester still.
I used to work in Sheffield.
Oh, yeah.
I used to work in Sheffield. That, yeah, was something. It was an experience still.
Why? Did you go uni there?
Nah, it's just where the work sent me. There was an office there.
Oh, well, okay, yeah. Makes sense, actually.
So they sent me up there for like 3-4 months. It's different still.
Mm.
I can't lie, it's always been like a thing, man. That I wanted to travel with work still. Like I've always wanted to have a job where the demands that, let's say like at least every quarter, I need to go to the office for like 2 weeks or something like that, or 1 week or something. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
It's just good to like get out, innit?
With the businessman vibe as well, like,
Yeah, with the suitcase.
But apparently when you travel for work frequently, it's quite peak though. Like you actually start hating traveling.
I loved it, bro.
Yeah.
Because of so for example, like, you know, like one of our uncles here that was peak in the bank. He used to go to Niger for a day and come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about stuff like that. I said a week, innit? Like 2.
Nah, fair enough. But
Yeah,
like when you travel for work regularly, you start not liking basically traveling, innit? Because of how, you know, traveling
I think it's
anyway.
Yeah, and I think it's them ones that makes it a bit more. So you know, even when we was talking to Charlie and he was talking about like he's at a show today and then he's getting on a plane, getting Ghana tomorrow, and then it's the fact that it's like you don't get that period of rest in between or something. You get to say exactly, and it's like the fact that it's so quick. So going to Nigeria for a day,
It's insane.
It's insanity.
I've heard of it is in the airport, trying to get.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do you know?
It's not even like Eurostar where you're, as
Yeah,
soon as you
yeah,
land,
true.
you're out.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
do you
yeah.
know what I mean?
One of our friends went Nigeria the other day, and she was like, she spent, what was it like? She said,
I can't remember, it was a stupid amount of
no,
time.
it was crazy. Like,
Yeah.
so when she landed in Nigeria, to get to her accommodation, it took longer than the flight to Nigeria.
Was she in go slow?
In fact,
Traffic.
definitely.
Of course, yeah.
Listen.
When
No one can save you.
Yeah, no one-
No one can save you.
yeah.
When's the last time you went Nige?
I went like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's going in December, finally.
Dirty.
Dirty.
No, not
Dirty
before
of
that, you
December.
know, not before that.
Oh, what? You're
No,
to coincide.
sorry, so what? Before that, people were going to Nigeria in
What's it,
December.
what is it for?
My friends getting married.
And then what's happening around that time?
Christmas, New Year, you know what I mean? Yeah, no, I don't know. I might dabble. You
Yeah,
never know. I might dabble. We don't know.
I've been bites.
All right. But also there's African combinations, isn't it? So is African combinations in Morocco?
Yeah.
So I think they're still going on till January.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking I might go to Morocco.
Yeah.
Just to
fair
see
enough.
see what's going. Yeah, Morocco. See what's going
That
on.
makes
there.
sense.
Where's that from?
She's like, where are you from? Is that Morocco?
I thought you were
She's like,
saying how I'm saying it.
No.
Right.
No.
I was like, you started. Okay. That's right.
Yeah, I need to go back to Nige, to be fair. I've been saying it for time.
Yeah,
Last time I went was 2019.
Oh, it's not that long ago.
I thought like it
That's
is,
not
though.
bad, you know.
It's not bad.
I don't think that's bad.
I was supposed to go in 2019, but then just things happened. I didn't.
When's the last time you went?
Oh, a time ago. It's not even worth mentioning.
Yeah.
Not even worth mentioning. My bridge was getting married in 2019, and I remember I was supposed to go. All my bridges were going. I was gassed.
Oh.
And yeah, I just couldn't go.
I want to do a wedding in
Yeah.
Nigeria though.
Yeah, I
wanna
do
a
want
wedding
to
in
experience
Nigeria.
that.
You want to do a wedding in Nigeria?
Yeah. I
Not
said
a
go
10
to
one.
one.
Yeah.
To be fair, I went to one of my cousins once, but it was different. It wasn't like
The new school ones.
Yeah,
Yeah,
same
yeah,
to be
yeah,
fair. I
same.
went to my cousin's wedding in Nige, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It went on the island. It's put like that.
Yeah, for real. Hey, literally that.
He went on the island still.
Literally that.
What, bro? So funny, 'cause
Yeah.
I think it was like 9:30 now, yeah. And then it felt like, you know when you're on bank at 5:30 and everyone's rushing home,
Yeah,
everyone
yeah.
has to get up.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
wow,
yeah,
like,
it's
what's going on? They were like,
Yeah.
we have to get home before
Yeah,
light
yeah,
turns,
yeah.
before
Yeah,
it gets dark.
Yeah.
Because we have to go on the express. Everyone has to get home. I was thinking, what is going on?
Yeah.
Fam, what is going on?
Same
But
stuff. I think ours started at it started maybe like 7 a.m. or something like that.
Yeah,
But
crazy.
it starts so early just so that it can finish mad
Yeah.
early. And this is on the outskirts of Lagos. So
Yeah,
for everybody
yeah.
to be able to get back home. So I think it finished at like 5 or something
Yeah.
like that.
Vibe is
What's
crazy
going on?
still.
Something like that. I can't remember, but it was
Yeah.
definitely early.
Yeah.
Definitely early still.
Well, fair enough.
Wedding was different, but yeah, I remember. Hey, that's so funny. Even where we had to park, to get into the hall was so weird. It's like a big open field, yeah. Then there's stewards, in it? And they're telling you like, okay, like park here, like park there. But where they're telling you to park, it's so silly. It's like, I'm telling you, we're blocking everyone by telling us to park there.
Yeah.
Nah, don't worry. The guy's not saying.
I was about to find me to be careful about that, man. What? Because people just start showing up and just start saying that they are students.
Parking attendants.
Whatever.
Bro, that was fun though.
I remember someone tried to do that to me in London. Like, 805,
Yeah.
He was like, he saw me coming from a while ago, yeah. Then he like stopped another car from taking a parking spot. He said, no, come.
In London, that's
805 in ends, bro. Okay, bro. Like, literally just across the road from it.
You know, after I'm really though. I'll never forget, when I was renting out my.
I gave him 5 boys, by the way.
You gave him £5? Why? For why?
You felt special. That's how Nigeria's built.
When in Rome.
It's not just the people do that. It's the people that make you feel good. They start feeling, innit?
But what it is, it was like, listen, I was running late. Do you know what I mean? It made sense.
Did you look at him when you gave it to him though? Nah.
I looked at him.
I even dapped him up. So I dapped him up because when he put his hand out,
you put the money in your hand and stamped
No. I can't even lie. It sounds a lot cooler than it was. When I saw him, when I come out of the car and he's done it, I was like, I love for that kind of vibe, innit? And obviously he's older or whatever. So he put his hand out kind of thing. So I just slapped his hand, shoulder, and then like he's still there with his hand out kind of thing, innit? I was like, do you know what? Fair enough, man. I appreciate what you did. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So
that weren't your unique thoughts. He led you to that conclusion.
He did lead, yeah.
He led you to that conclusion.
I didn't think it was peace. I remember this happened to me another time when I went to Morocco, and I was in the airport and someone helped me. I can't even lie to you. I avoided it. Bro, he helped us with our bag. Our bag split, So he wrapped it up and carried it all around for us, all that kind of stuff, bro. At the end, he was like, I was like, you work here.
Stop.
I was like, you work here, bro. I didn't even know, that was, I didn't know that's what you done it for. And he's like, I was like, do you know what it is? Where I didn't have no, what was it, dirhams? It was I didn't have any cash in it. He's like, I couldn't give you nothing. I didn't have nothing to give you.
Did he work at the airport? That is funny still.
Bro, he worked at the airport, bro. So
did he actually work at the airport?
He actually worked at the airport.
Yeah, but you know that's their thing. For them, that's extra. That's always like that. But Morocco is like that. Morocco's got the same vibe, but they're so quick with it.
Yeah.
Just be coming out and it's like, you're helping me.
Yeah.
And then it's like,
you got to tell them not to.
Yeah, you got it.
First time I went to Niger and that thing started happening, I was getting shook, fam. Because I was young as well. Imagine, I think I was 10. Bare people come around, I'm thinking, fam. If they can pressurize you to do certain things, fam. It's
well, 2 experiences in Niger. Well, I'll start with the second one. I was in the car. They're around the car asking for money. So, no, I didn't give them. I think it was my mum. So my mum just gave them something now. My mum's older brother was driving. He was like, fam, he turns to my mum and said, you're the ones who are spoiling Nigeria. I was like, what? He was like, you gave them too much.
It's too much.
Bear in mind, it was like, I don't know, like 200 naira. Do you know what I mean? Which is like £1.
Yeah, for you,
Do you know, well, the pound then.
At the time.
It was £1 then. And he was like, you're spoiling Nigeria by giving them. That was crazy. First time, when I told you that basically my uncle said, when you get to the airport, act like you're someone. As soon as you get there, you have to move. If you don't move mad, not gonna.
Which is mad.
Yeah.
So I got there now. As I'm walking, I've got my suitcase. I'm walking. I can see that one security guy looking at me. He spotted me from far. I can see him edging up. I'm thinking, all right, shit, prepare yourself. I'm getting into character. So the guy says, he's signaling to me.
Yeah.
So I come on the phone.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you mad? And I just start bugging out. I just start bugging out, but it's quick, and I'm thinking, but I'm sweating. If this don't work.
What, the way they're gonna flog you?
That doesn't work. The way they'll
flog you.
And literally, give it like 30 seconds. I was like, go. And I was like, why do I have to do this? In order to pattern in this country, it's actually crazy.
Even our Regina that was just there, she was like, how, obviously, like they might pull you to one side to look at your suitcase. Some of her stuff still had the labels on them, innit? So they were clearly like new, basically. They were like, oh yeah, where's the receipts? Why the flip would we have the receipts?
She should have pulled and twisted guy there.
Why would we have the receipts, innit? Did they start saying something about federal law or something like that? She said she just had to basically just start bugging out. That ultimately, you don't need no receipts. You don't need no anything. But fam, that's how they would get somebody else, and then they'll keep them there for however long until they give them the money and all of that sort of stuff.
It's kind of like when that whole Yahoo boy stuff was going on.
Oh yeah, give me your phone.
Let me see your phone.
Emails.
It's like, where's the receipt? Like, it's like, bro, like,
receipt for what?
Like, it don't make sense.
Do you think you could move to Nige?
I don't think I want to.
I could have a base there, but not like be there for like, as in like live there.
Yeah,
But I can have a base anywhere though. Do you get what I'm trying to say? It don't really. When we say live there, it's like that is your base. Like that is your.
No. So I could be there for extensive periods, but not to live. As in,
So
like,
yeah,
for
okay,
life.
cool.
It's just too. It's too.
Yeah. What about for like
too
3
different.
what about 3 years? Like a
No.
like a
3 year
2
stint?
Like a 2
I
year.
think after like if you were there for that
So why
period
did
of
you ask
time.
me? That's actually funny.
Just to clarify, innit? Like, clarity.
Let's
Let's make sure I'm answering the right question, innit?
If you were there for that period of time, you're just acclimatized, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're just acclimatized, man. And it's only just like the small little things, for example, like the traffic, the lights going off and stuff like that. And even if you've got like 24-hour electricity wherever you are, little things like you're in the cinema, and it's just small conveniences that we have now.
Never took that when I was in the
it happens.
when I was in cinema.
I was in the shopping centre.
See, that's what I'm saying though. Like, and the thing is, we had a conversation with one of our other friends.
Yeah.
And like, he's getting on to us, it is convenient. I was like, listen, you don't understand my level of convenience, bro. So for example, in the UK, if I go to someone else's house and their Wi-Fi is slow, that is a massive inconvenience.
Their Wi-Fi is slow.
Yes, that's a massive
Why is that an
inconvenience
inconvenience for you though?
because fam, I've pressed something, I remember I was somewhere, I can't remember where I was the other day, I was on Amex or whatever it is, and I'm trying to book like a flight or something like that, So I've looked in it, and the thing's doing the white screen thing. I was getting so annoyed.
Brother.
Like, but this is what I'm trying to say. So if that's inconveniencing, man, here, what do you think it's going to be like there?
There's bare convenience there.
Do you get what I'm trying to say?
No, but there is
No,
bare
but I'm talking.
convenience there.
But see, you're missing it. So you're missing the fact that I'm saying for man, my convenience is different to the standard everyday life. Everyone's convenience. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So that's why for the everyday person, it's absolutely great. Like it's fine. Oh yeah, we can do without this, and all of the other conveniences add up and make it better.
Yeah.
But for man, I've got certain things I'm very particular about, and to be fair, it might even be bad, but
I just don't want to become an irritable person. I feel like when you go out there, you have to be a version of yourself.
You have to.
It's horrible, man. It's horrible. Like, obviously, when you go there and you're like doing tourism or expat, whatever, you're going back, if you can donate. The small change you have and all that stuff. Obviously, it's unsustainable.
Yeah.
So after a while, you're gonna have to start being like irritated by people begging. And I don't want to be that person who's just be like, why are you asking me questions or like this or. You play the role very quickly. You play the role so quickly. Even one thing is that, house help.
I don't.
Oh, there's a big.
Like that,
I feel like it's hard.
I feel way about it.
I feel it's hard.
Yeah.
I definitely feel way about it, especially when it's like out of the small, like the very smallest things. So for example, like I can actually wash my own plate. So I'm not gonna call you to come and do this thing for me because of what I'm used to here, innit? Obviously there, it's like their role is to do
but you
bare stuff, innit?
You'll do what you do here, which is.
But they don't want you to.
But no, sometimes do you like. Here, do you leave your plate in the sink? And not that you're not gonna wash it, but you wash it later.
They
don't just have washed it.
No, but there it's like they're. I'm doing this. Let me do this.
Or someone else on your behalf. Like if something happens, a minor maybe miscommunication, and you see like your auntie or your mum shout at them, and it's about you. And you're just like, oh, rah. Because this person's older than me as well.
Yeah, man.
And you can see the little heart, you can see the life on them, and they're helping me do things, and I'm like, I just,
it's actually, bro, I remember I was in the car, I was with my uncle and his driver. His driver is older than both of us. His driver is probably like 8 years younger than my parents or something.
Yeah.
They call him Baba Ibiji.
Bro,
I don't know his name. Like Baba Ibiji. Bro.
Has he got twins?
Yeah.
He must have.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
So, obviously, I'm in the backseat. My uncle's in the front. Baba Ibeji's driving, And he took like a left turn or something. My uncle started wagging out. Like, why are you? Like,
the insults are.
Speaking in Yoruba, you know Yoruba insult. Speaking like, are you so silly that you can't see the road to the
Are you that mentally enslaved?
So he turned left.
Have you seen that
video? Bobby Benji's trying to explain like why he's done that, but my uncle shine at him. But it turns out this way is actually quicker.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So when we get there, it's silent.
That stuff is so funny.
It's silent, for like 20 seconds. As my uncle's looking at the window, it's like, he's like, oh, sorry, I didn't know that. This was weird.
That's even good though, because sometimes they won't even say nothing.
That apology did not match the insults whatsoever.
Of course.
The insults that he was shouting down, I was just sitting there at the back, like, fam. And then on top of that, the guy has to wait for us in the car when we go out.
Oh, that's the thing. You wait for us,
And they'll wait for us.
Bloody hot in the car. They just
But
get
also,
a
like,
bitch,
how do they? My thing is, how do you firm like
Where?
Nigerian insult?
Where?
Like as a grown up,
Yeah.
someone was talking to you anyhow,
Where?
and someone just and not just like publicly.
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
And you're sitting there. I see that all the time. Even just some people in the UK who have that kind of like culture where they can say anything, and it's like you just ridicule for me. I just think it's so bad, man.
It's crazy.
Ridicule is mad.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking a grown ass person who goes home and they're the head of their own household. I just think it reminds me like obviously like the slavery times though. Still, you know what I mean? Like when you're just beating a man down and he goes home and it's like in front of his family. But I just think that's one thing I can't handle.
I hear it.
But then it's your job. So
what they say is that if you aren't onto them like that, then they're gonna take advantage basically.
Mm.
And obviously they have like a few case studies whereby like, do you know what I mean? A driver's move mad or a gate man or a model's
I don't think it's a few. I think it's a lot, you know. I think that's the problem though. So it's a bad system that everybody is complicit in.
Yeah.
Do you get me? So yes, you shouldn't talk to the drivers, the chefs, the houseboys. You shouldn't talk to them in that manner. However, it's kind of proven that when you're a bit more lenient, mad things happen. I'm not saying that that's an excuse to, do you know what I mean? But I feel like everyone's...
And when I say a few as well, I think certain people haven't had personal experience. I don't think you've had personal experience of that. But because you've heard stories and that, you're like, nah.
And I think because how intimate the relationship becomes, you have to, because this person knows your business, basically. Like all your phone calls you're having, near your kids. Even you see gate men, them lot have a lot of control over what goes in and out your yard. So you can't even have a conversation where it's just like, yeah, you're right, it has to be listened. I hope you know, anything gets stolen, anything comes in, any armed robber. So I do get it in that respect.
Any armed robber.
Because it's serious. Like these people, like, they know everything. They know everything. So I
remember there was a time where she had gone to Nigeria. I think it was around like December and all of that. But the Omodo had stolen her sister's engagement ring or something like that, and then had like gone missing in it. So she was literally doing like an Insta story of everything, and then it ended up finding the girl basically. And then all of it was kind of like the stand up was very much like, after all that I've done for you kind of thing. I brought you in the house, I've done and then you've gone and stolen the engagement ring and whatnot, innit?
How did the girl respond?
She was just there, like
she was just standing there.
Yeah. But they had gone to the police and all that sort of stuff, innit? So it was like at a point whereby I think it was even like the gate man who lined her up. So they were trying to get a hold of her. But they were trying to get a hold of her for time. They couldn't get a hold of her. I think it was either the gate man or the chef.
They probably had a relationship.
It
was like, come lick me. Come lick me quickly. It's like,
That's crazy. That's actually crazy.
And then the police were there, innit? And obviously, you get what happened.
That's rough, man.
Bro, that's crazy. But so, would you not have like house help if you were Nige?
I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't live in Nige for like 2 or 3 years. Innit? What I would do is, but this is the thing, because other places where I think about relocating to, I would have like a maid, for example. But then again, that kind of relationship with the maid is completely different though. And you get what I'm trying to say? Like, I've got friends now that are in that scenario. Do you get what I'm saying? And the relationship is not like what we've just described. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So that's what I'm more comfortable with, and that's why I can do that.
It's a lot more professional. It's more like an au pair, isn't it?
I feel like you can change the relationship, though, innit? You can, like, let's say in Nige, it doesn't have to be what we've seen. You can take this opportunity to kind of reshape the relationship you have, innit?
For a price. For a price. A lot of these people, are you paying them in bread? Are you paying them in security of you know where you're sleeping? I think that's also another part of it, innit? It's like it goes from the technically like, what do you call it, like enslavement, because you're taking someone who knows nobody and you think they're better off here, so they can't even complain because their parents have died and now this is better, versus other people who are like, you know what I mean, you're doing yourself, you go home at a certain time, do you know what I mean, that stuff like that. So
and I guess there's also what's it like. So for example, I actually want to drive, so I don't want to drive. I don't think I ever want to
in Nigeria.
In general, I don't think I ever want to drive.
For like your wife and kids, if they're going to school, I think it's mainly for that.
Fair, that's true too.
So I think a lot of the men, they always go out early and they drive. But I feel like if it's your wife or like a parent,
that's actually true.
Do you know what I mean? But I don't know how does it work when they're on standby. So if that day I've cooked my own food and I've got a driver, but I haven't used them that day, what does the salary? How does it work?
What's so funny? I was speaking to one of my friends in Nigeria. They went there 3 years ago, and they have who is he? It's like it's not chef. It's like a don't know what it is, like a gate man, to be fair. Maybe multiple roles, I don't know. But she was like, so when she was coming back to the UK for like 2-3 months, she shouted him like I need to pack and I've got lots of things in like, do you want to help me? I'll give you red. Said he was there ASAP. He just came and said, look, even though I'm not doing that role, I'm going to do this role. I'm going to get bread for this. And I'm going to, I think they'll do what needs to get done for the bread. Do you know what I mean? If I need to take your car to the mechanic, we'll take it, we'll sort ourselves out. If I need to go shopping for you, we'll do that, we'll sort ourselves out.
And there's lack of job anyway.
Yeah,
for real. So they're able to do better stuff in it. So like, if they're not driving for you, maybe they haven't got anything going like at all, sort of thing. And so that's their only sort of thing. I would say driving in the island is different from
driving
mainland.
on
mainland. Driving the mainland is peak.
But
obviously island is completely different.
To be fair, I don't actually know what that driving family. One time I'm on mainland, I won't lie to you, boy.
No, bro, listen, I remember I tell you that story where that person was driving without brakes. So he used this. So he used he used someone that knows car to brake the car.
Really?
So he doesn't have brakes. He jammed into them.
Oh, so that's what he was doing every time he wants to stop.
Yeah. So he come out of the car. They came out of the car. It was that fam. Before they even said anything, they've given him like 3 slaps.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Took his keys and dashed it in the
Wait,
river.
how many times did he do it before they came out of the car?
No, it was the first time.
First time, okay.
Because when he said that he had no brakes, they've taken the keys out and they've dashed the keys in the river.
That's actually crazy, man.
Remember back in the day, my mum and dad used to tell me about there was someone take like a stick out of their car, start beating the other car and that, in traffic and that.
Have you ridden on Okada?
Yeah, I have, you know.
It's so scary, but it's thrilling.
Yeah,
but you're warned always never to do it. Always never to do it. But
no helmet, no nothing.
Nothing.
Just vibes.
And it's the thing, is it the petrol thing? Something's hot on it.
Yeah.
You put your leg on it, it's mad. It's like, why don't you cover it? It's ridiculous.
It's actually great. But
It's
again,
ridiculous.
Nigel's fam, anything you see now, you have to take it like that.
Anything.
My mum told me there used to be like either a ward or hospital that was called like Okada ward. Because daily, one amputee every day. That's why they tried to phase it out. Bare time, they tried to phase it out.
To be fair,
they try, but
to be fair, when I was younger, so the first time I went to Lagos, I was 10, and I came back maybe when I was like, I think like 18, 19 and stuff. But then it was significantly different. So you see what you're talking about in terms of the Okadas and stuff like that. So there's a lot more laws around them. Well, in Lagos anyway, like being in certain places and all that sort of stuff. And then even the first time I went to Nigeria, I could feel the fact that there was bare people there, if you get what I mean. Obviously, still bare people there now, but it's a lot less because of like certain laws that they put in place. I think the Okadas and stuff like that are part of something to do.
Yeah, I did hear something about they tried to ban it at one point.
Yeah. And even them switching up to put the marijuana or whatever, the thing with the wasn't like that before. Yeah. So there was a bit. Well, Lagos anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, it's time to go back. Let me see.
You're gonna enjoy it.
It's a vibe, man.
How long are you there for?
I don't know yet, you know.
Oh yeah. Well, like that, or open return. Jeez.
No, not like that. Yeah, I just don't know.
Lucky for some, boy.
God, I see what you do for others.
Lucky for some, God, please.
No, I haven't been in a minute, man. I did say like this, you know, you get to a place in your life where you're like, it's time for me to see if I can do the whole like, not bi-coastal, but live somewhere for extended period of time.
Yeah.
Let me just see, because I'm such I guess just born and bred London.
Yeah.
I've never lived somewhere. Actually, when I was born here, but then I lived in Niger.
Okay.
Then I came back for school.
How long did you live in Niger for?
Probably just I don't know, 4 or 5 years. Yeah. Then
Do you have memories of that?
Not really. I've got some memories, but not like day-to-day memories. Just like I remember like birthdays and stuff.
Okay.
It's funny, I've done the same thing still.
Yeah.
It was only like 2 years.
Yeah, well, I think it's yeah.
Huh?
But I
don't know that.
What do you mean?
Is it?
What the
I think it's common though.
When I was young still.
I think it's quite common.
Are you joking?
Was it quickly after house?
You and your sister?
Me and my sister, we lived there.
You didn't still?
Yeah, because it was like childcare and all that kind of stuff.
Let me phone my mum now.
Are you serious, sir?
Just to see.
I'll phone my mum now.
I feel like everyone's done a stint in.
But remember, the funny thing is, you see, even like home church.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't there from birth. Like I came so I was like probably like 4 when I first came.
Yeah, I think the same. I think I was there for 2 years. Come back, you go back for 2 years. Like that.
Why don't you not know that?
Fam, why the flip don't we know this?
I don't know.
Have you ever had this conversation?
Do you know
with
so
me?
much?
Never.
No. Do you know so much? The crazy thing about all of this, crazy thing
I
about
don't know
all
how
of
true
this,
this is.
we actually had like a Yoruba, like a proper Af accent. For a
What?
period of time, yeah.
It's so you get it quick.
Yeah.
I remember I used to go every other year,
Yeah.
like up until when I stopped going. So I used to go every
for real?
every other year at least. And I had like my mum's the oldest of like 6, so them lot started to get married, and then we go back and do bridesmaid stuff. And one summer I went and I came back and my accent was like mad.
Yeah.
I didn't even speak. In year 8,
mum-
I didn't speak. I was like, it was mad.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
So we all did the same thing, yeah. And then when my mum heard like our accent was getting thicker, like she was like, nah.
Yeah.
She was like, no more.
And because it's not even like it's not Queen's Yoruba, innit?
Yeah.
So it's even looking good. Imagine this young person that just say I was all saying, hey, bros. I remember I didn't want to open my mouth. And I remember when I went to Nigeria in like, I think it was the end of year 7 into year 8, I didn't want to open my mouth because I felt like I was speaking the Queen's English.
Yeah.
So I'd only speak when I could like mimic a cousin. That's it.
Yeah.
It was like, it took 3 days and my English accent was gone.
That's
And I came back to year 8, but year 8 was the year, you know year 8 is now, the ends is cool. Like, it's hot. Like, it's UK music, there's rap, everything now. So you've got to shed all of that off as well. So I had to immerse myself quickly back. It wasn't even, like year 6, year 7, nothing's really going on. It was easy. So I had to come back. But no, it was good. It was good, but it's quick. It's so quick how kids pick up.
Yeah, 100%.
The accent.
It's not, hey, that's so funny still.
Yeah.
I didn't know that at all.
I didn't
That
know.
one.
Shit done.
That doesn't sound new still.
I've definitely spoken about it before.
I
man.
have to fact check that one after. Still. I'm not convinced still.
Fact check all.
Just double check that
I
one.
call my
still.
mum now to tell you right now.
It's too, fam. No clue, bro.
Yeah, I can't imagine it, man. I've never, like, but to be fair, growing up where I grew up, it was basically like I was in Nigeria anyway. Like, fam, bro,
Little Lagos.
Little Lagos, bro. Like I tell you, in my year, I said it before, in primary school, especially year 6, there were two white people. One was like Portuguese, I don't know if that counts. But one's Portuguese, the other one was British. Everyone else, literally 85% Nigerian, few Ghanaians, couple Jamaicans. That was it.
Wow.
Crazy.
I remember you said you never had that whole trying to be Jamaican.
That trying to
Yeah.
I
That's
never
so
experienced
cool.
it when I was younger
Yeah.
because fam, I told you not thought I was joking here, but you know my polyphonic ringtone was my kusa.
Don't kill me.
I said-
I've had
I heard
in
it.
ages.
It was my polyphonic ringtone, bro. Just because it was like, oh yeah, this is lit.
Yeah.
Like, do you get me?
Wait, what area did you grow up in?
Like Campbell or Peckham.
Oh, God. Yeah, they do say it's like mini Lagos.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah.
so
Back
interesting.
then,
Is it the
yeah.
same for you guys?
No, I'm North.
Oh, no. Are
I
you
grew
from
up in
North?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
really?
Yeah. I grew up in Edgware. Then I moved to Finsbury Park.
Oh,
and I moved to
wow.
Tottenham. Yeah,
Really?
It's only so Finsbury Park
Oh
is where I
my
had the
gosh.
Jamaican thing though. Because
Yeah.
my
Yeah,
primary school, so I went to 3 different primary schools because of where I moved, innit?
Mm.
I actually went primary school my year 6 was in Camden actually, in Hampstead.
What school was it?
It's called St. Dominic's. at
I know
Hampstead
something.
Heath.
Yeah.
Yeah, them sides.
Oh,
But then
You should have told me. Oh my
Where'd you
God.
go?
Camden. But I used to hang around
Okay.
in FPK, Manor House, Tottenham.
Okay.
Right,
So I
right.
but
Yeah.
I
That's
lived
the hang
there.
around.
Just be
I know,
hang around.
yeah.
Like,
Don't worry, we'll get into that
We'll
one.
get into
Yeah,
it,
we'll get into that one.
boy.
We have to part different.
Just be, boy.
Oh my God,
Just be, everything is
Jamaican.
politics, boy. Everything's still like,
But yeah, I lived there, but I was never really.
Yeah. You
Like,
never hung around
like
there.
that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But year 5 is where there was bare Jamaicans. And that's when like around Sean Paul times and that. So I remember like, obviously they had like
Yeah.
Sean Paul and all
Yeah,
of
they
this
had that
and
pop
da, da,
culture
da.
on there. So.
But I wasn't really aware of countries like that per se. But I did know that, okay, cool, you lot have
Yeah.
this guy,
yeah.
do you get what I mean? But I was always me in it.
Yeah, I hear it still. Oh, well, my year 6 teacher was Yoruba as well.
So,
Yeah, my year 6 teacher, she was Yoruba.
oh.
Fam, so much so that when there's no one around, she'll definitely speak Yoruba. That guaranteed.
I remember I had a teacher that was
Oi.
a supply teacher one time that was effing it.
Yeah.
And like everyone was taking the mick out of her and I just
Yeah.
couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't, man.
I was like, nah, like, this is like
Like,
auntie,
yeah,
bro.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
What's
That's
so
how
bad?
jokes though. That used to happen in school
Especially
bare
if
still.
you're the
youth.
Like, you
Yeah.
don't stop, man. Leave it alone.
Especially if you're the youth in the class that is normally leading the insult. All of a sudden, you're not.
Yeah.
Nah,
Yeah, they're
Nah,
like,
you fell off.
got a day
You
off.
fell off.
Yeah.
I thought it's
Nah,
bro. College
it's-
as well. I had like a Yoruba teacher as well.
So when did you discover racism?
Hey, do you know what it is? It's a good question.
It's true.
But in primary school as well, because Bermondsey wasn't too far.
Okay. So the area
So
itself.
the area itself,
yeah.
Bermondsey
Bermondsey was peak back then,
was
so
peak.
I remember.
So Bermondsey, Millwall, like around those sides, you know, Millwall's like a football that is known for like racism, innit?
Oh.
It wasn't too far. So we used to
Okay.
go there to play football. They had like an indoor football pitch there.
Yeah.
So anytime you went around that area, bro.
Is it? Was that monkey chance or they chase you?
Monkey, they'll shout at you, nigger.
Stop.
They're like, you blackie. Like, it was, but by the way, it's funny because when you're younger, you know it's racism, but it's more like a cuss.
Yeah.
Then like, oh my God, like I can't believe you call me. It's like you're just cussing me, innit?
You're cussing me.
So I'm kind of cussing you back. Do you know what I mean? We didn't think like, oh my God, like
this like
stuff
systemic,
institutional.
Yeah.
And bare times we just
but do you know what
give it back as well.
So just on that, is that a massive issue in terms of like, so the fact that you saw it as a cuss, you didn't see it as like, oh, this is racism, and most likely the person on the other side saw it as a cuss, but they didn't think, oh, this is like, or they could have. Do you know what I mean? But like, do you think that's an issue? Do you think it's an issue that like it was seen as a cuss on both? If it was seen as a cuss by both parties,
I'm not sure they saw it as a cuss, but let's just say that they did.
And what I'm asking, do you think it's an issue is that you've only seen it as a cuss and you haven't? Because the reason why I'm saying this as well, just so you understand the context here, is that I think nowadays in schools, if anything like that is said, do you know what I mean? Like, these times they're just cussing each other. Like, do you know what I mean? They don't actually think, they're not thinking, and that's bad. Fair enough, like we can adjust that. But they think they're just cussing each other. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Do you know what it is? I feel like it's important to know what's going on, but how you respond can be the same. Do you know what I mean? So that no one should be sneak dissing you, like secretly insulting you, and you don't know what they're trying to do. No one should be saying black this, but I'm unaware that they're like being racist to me. But let me be aware they are, and then decide that I'm going to respond to it calmly. Not that, I don't know, I'm blind to what they're actually trying to do. Do you know what I mean? Like I still think it's important to know what's going on, but obviously, look, everyone can choose how they want to respond to it. Do you know what I mean?
Because I guess the whole thing with the racism thing is that because it's not defined by how you take it, it's almost irrelevant. Because a lot of kids, obviously, you don't have the language, so you can just bants. Like even us, in terms of colorism, there are a lot of people who are darker than us that people would use like anti-black language on. A lot of people are guilty for. It doesn't mean that because I didn't know the intention or that person laughed it off that it wasn't anti-black or it wasn't that. It just means that on the technicality, that's what it is. So in that moment, might not cause you harm, but racism, because it's a systemic thing, not to be that person, the importance is the fact that the power that it holds, if you did take it wrong, could affect your whole self-esteem, what you choose to study, what you do after that, all that kind of stuff. But in the interpersonal racism stuff is never the most violent. It's really never the most violent. But if that happens to all of us all the time, what does that look like? It looks like black people not going to that pitch to play football anymore. And then we never go there. And then we're going to start to, we haven't got resources. Get on that level. But on the one-to-one level, he was just cussing me. He just cussed me. But so I think on that level.
Issue. And to be fair, like I said, that when it happened, that we used to go play football early on. Fam, the football team got so peaked there on, I just weren't good enough. But in the early, no one start taking people from your year to play for the older years. I was just like, bro. I just was not there. But anyway, so in the early time, we were playing football, and I think there was like another racist school, and
secondary school.
Yeah, secondary school. Oh, wow. It was 2 occasions, but this occasion I wasn't there. So they've it's like in East somewhere, cussing, monkey chants, like doing you blackie, doing the game, innit? I was so mad that the people that were on the football team, you would think they would bug out straight away, but they're like, nah, calm, watch.
That's what I'm thinking.
Fam, as soon as they blew the whistle, I don't know if you don't know, but you know the thing they used to hold down?
Blue bag.
No, not the blue bag, to hold down a goalpost. That kind of
metal thing.
The metal block. Brethren picked it up, smashed it on the youth, and they were just fighting. And apparently my PE teacher, who's the football coach, she's like, when you lot are done, I'm in the coach. Like, he was like, when you lot are done. And from that, and again, this is the result of you're racist. So fair enough, innit? Like, you don't need to be aware, but there's consequences. There's serious consequences. Serious consequences. But yes, football. I remember the boys in my year, they got banned from playing football after that because their school worked back that someone got a broken jaw from their other school. Someone else had that. But at the same time, we were like, you get me?
Both teams should have been banned still.
Yeah, I don't even think our shit have been really that.
No, obviously, like, but do you know what it's like? It's still violence on someone's child, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
No, but that, I'm guessing. No, I hear you still. No, I actually hear it. I actually hear it for true. Obviously, I'm not promoting violence. You hear me? Before they start clipping that bit now, start sending
Don't
it
get
around.
twisted, bro. Trust me. You gotta explain it.
Adolescents making the rounds.
Hey, listen, have you not watched that?
Yeah,
What's that?
Adolescence.
I started, but then like everyone was guessing, oh, it's all in one take and that I can't even lie. That was annoying me a little bit still.
You feel like that person who just like when people gas things up, it's like
Yeah.
resistant to it, innit?
That's the reason why he's
Garrow that person.
But I also wish that I didn't hear the noise that about it before I watched it.
Yeah,
I was watching it looking for like some mad twist and all of that.
Yeah.
But it's actually just this is what it is.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah.
So as I'm
So,
watching it, I'm like, ah, cool, yeah, my man, he's gonna be the guy that did it. But that's just not what.
It's for.
That's not what it's for, innit?
yeah.
But that came off
I
of
haven't
the hype.
watched it, so you definitely spoiled it. But
Yeah.
Well, I haven't.
No, I'll never go back to it, but you know what I mean? But luckily, I watched it in the beginning. So
Okay,
I watched it relatively early. People were saying it was good, but not a lot of people. When I watched it, I was like, no, like I've enjoyed the conversations that come out of this more than but it's like without basically the noise, I'd just say, no, this is good.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
yeah, I think it's still a good thing that you've done it
it's
in one
good.
take and all that kind of stuff. I think that's sick.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? And again, it's good to see, you know, like one annoying thing that I feel like is now not putting people in a chokehold, but you know where it's like, oh, we're tired of seeing black people play the same roles and they're talking about the streets and all that kind of stuff. I think it's even good seeing like Ashley in that kind of like, do you know what I mean? In that
role, true.
That's like the second or third time he's played.
Yeah, because he's done the other one. He's dealing with like Noel Clark or whatever, innit?
It was good. It was good. And also, I think the acting in there was good as well.
It was good
I think-
acting, yeah.
It was good acting. I think actually was really good. I think
The dad and the boy.
dad,
for me,
what's the dad's name again?
Steven
something. He was good, and the boy.
He's one of my
done
favourites.
He's like, get your
Yeah.
York, get hands off him now. He's one of the best British
Yeah, he
actors
is.
He's cold.
He's got it
all
down.
time.
He's got it down.
All time.
Nah, he's
Of
good
all
still.
time.
He's got it
It's
down.
great.
What do you think of it?
Yeah, I think it was good. I think it was a timely message based on what's going on in like schools and with young people. I think it's not for everyone because I think sometimes how they pitch it, especially with our kind of community where ultimately the conversation is about like grooming online and all that red pill, blue pill, and we've got a different version of that, which is like gang crime. But because they're able to, you know, like when it comes to white victimhood, they're able to position it as like a social society problem. Whereas when it's our people being groomed, gang culture isn't given, it's not given that label. So if you did that whole show again, but with something that is to do with a different demographic and what it could happen, what normally happens, it's interesting how Keir Starmer's not going to say, let's stream this in schools. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say, let's put Top Boy in schools. Because you didn't present it. You didn't choose to highlight the fact that this is all a grooming thing. Do you know, technically it's a grooming thing. You could even say like it's even something to play during cost of living crisis to see the impact of being thingy. I think there was one thing about immigration, one of the kids in like thing with the mum. That's a big thing. Like no one's putting that out. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's my only thing. Nothing to do with the writers, but just as society, it's interesting when it comes to that we kind of look for like the mental, emotional roots to that. But our one is just straight bam. But outside of that, it's really important, as you guys said, like having just showing like actually this is just as simple as it is. This is a young person, what they're taking in could lead to all these extreme ideas. And if you don't act now, this is what could happen.
And it's mad because I didn't even see, but I heard that there was some backlash about, why is it a white kid when
This knife crime or something like that.
And it's like, I was just like, bro.
Yeah, I heard that was on Twitter and I'm happy I'm not on Twitter. Like, that kind of discourse is crazy. But yeah, it just goes to show, innit? It goes. But I just don't understand why it always takes people for a Netflix show to now transform everyone's mind about these things. I think that's where I think we're in a scary place.
It's consumerism, innit? It's like we don't so forget like reading books for a second, innit? But like people like to consume entertainment more than anything else.
Yeah, no, of course.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? So it's like, it's probably like the way that everyone needs to start thinking that, cool, actually, if I want to get a message out there, then that's what I need to do. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Because it's almost like, you know, like sometimes we talk about, like we shouldn't see certain things in a certain way, but we know that everyone sees it in that way. So then you need to adapt your message to Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Be in their eyesight, in their eye line. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Otherwise,
it's one of the most kind of effective ways of like teaching and stuff like that when it's done right without like teaching per se, like letting you know that I'm teaching you.
Yeah.
But like, for example, like when we were growing up, like a lot of the things that we liked, our interests and all that sort of stuff, music, what we watched, you know what I mean, the sort of jokes that we did through all of those sorts of mediums, innit? I think when I watched certain things as an adult, like bare stuff was actually like, they're actually trying to teach certain lessons, innit? So for example, like something like My Wife and Kids, like he was like a business owner, innit? Like he was somebody who was successful, like they lived in like a nice house and all that sort of stuff, family, Fresh Prince, Judge, you know what I mean? All of those sorts. And there's bare lessons that were in them that were actually teaching. But obviously when we were younger, we never took it in like that per se. But as you're older, you can get it in it. So it's a good way of actually teaching without like trying to bang something on your head.
Yeah.
I guess that's what art is though, I guess, isn't it? Art is expression, art is meant to teach. Like even though I guess the way like film is now is a bit more reductive than a painting. If you see a painting, they'll start describing it in the most like euphoric words and beautiful. But with the Netflix film now, it's just like, but it's still art, isn't it? Like, someone's still portraying a message through, do you know what I mean, through film, through their scripts and stuff, innit? So that's valid like as a form of expression, isn't it? So
you're so funny. You know, you said that people explain that or describe art as beautiful and all that kind of stuff. So someone said this to me, and I think you lot was around. Like someone said this to me the other day, and they were like, obviously, like quality of films hasn't been great because of the whole writer's strike. And I didn't clock here. Do you lot know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, who said it? Someone said it a while back. It was a while back. Someone said it to us.
No, like a couple of weeks.
No, not a couple of weeks. We were talking about the same person. It was a while back. I said there was a writers. Yeah, they spoke about the writer's strike and the quality.
Yeah. When was it then?
The writer's strike was like 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
A year ago.
No. They were talking about the writer's strike was 2 years ago.
Yeah,
but obviously the films come out.
Oh, the films have come out since.
Exactly,
So you're saying.
So basically, because the writer's strike happened, let's say 2 years ago, the films are going to be coming out for the next 2 years because everything has got to go pre-post-production, all that kind of stuff. It's going to be media, innit? So until they're back, like you're still going to see a lag until like all of the good stuff starts coming back out again. And I was like, fair enough. I don't really have that much time to watch all of these things. But I definitely clocked that, bro, like you said, you was waiting for like a mad twist and all that kind of stuff, and it was just like, no, this is what it is. Like, do you get?
Do you know what's for me? What's interesting for the adolescents? I was gonna do a post about this, but I just had bare stuff to do, so I didn't. But it's interesting when we think about like the polished media when it comes to like films, TV shows, music videos, and their impact, and we think that is what media is. But we forget that like we're all on social media, right? And one thing that was really important, I don't think many people I didn't see the discourse about it, was that this is a young person who was in his room and he developed a sense of self based on social media interactions. It wasn't the film, he said. It wasn't, what's the Scarface? Back in the day when we consumed basically all the same things. Obviously Scarface, Godfather, that have a big impact in it on how we depict things, 50 Cent, all that stuff. But now there's just so many, everyone's a content creator. So what we have to look at is, if I was a young person with an account online and I enter, we are the social media. So it's the aggregate of what we're putting out that is influencing them, not the film. So the films, because that's still part of mainstream TV. You still have to sit down and subscribe and watch mainstream. That's not the issue. The main issue is, what are we doing as people when we go onto internet? Even when we all try and do lifestyle. A young person who's 13, 14, 15, 16 is going on there thinking, all black people in the UK have this type of life. That's what's impacting them. Or when we have podcasts and we're having these conversations, or we're having lazy conversations about how we talk about people, that's what's forming people's ideology. People think it's the actual film. It's like, that was back in the day. Now, even little things, we're all doing that. And I think that's why it's interesting, because no one takes responsibility. No one wants to take responsibility. Because it makes you then think, we're all trying to fight for I could do what I want. But really, that little boy, who was he raised on? Us. You know what I mean? And that's why it's interesting for me. I'm always like, okay, cool. But if the solution was for all of us to be mindful of how we present things, not because it's illegal, but because we understand that all of us together are coordinating this image of what it's like to be insert whatever person. That's the problem. You know what I mean? That's the problem. From how we dress, it's not like we learnt this because we all fashionable. You're informed by what you've seen a lot of the time. A lot of people, especially if you're not from what you say, from what you like. People are talking about Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate is one of many podcasters. He's not talking in a vacuum. So even if for 10 episodes we're talking about something good, but there's the one episode where there's a lazy conversation. You've added to what he's saying, and now there's a lot of like information for someone to pull from. So for me, social media, it's like everyone always says but it's like, not to name any other podcasters, obviously it's your podcast, so I don't want to, do you know what I mean? But there's bare podcasters that you see now that for me, even as men, I'm like, man, them, you don't need to patent that podcaster, because he's saying things in a way that is making other young men come online. And that's what they're informed by. They're not going to be informed by all the other stuff on the mainstream channel going BBC. Let me go on BBC and have an interview to show I'm a good role model. Who watches BBC? On an actual level, who's watching? Even Netflix, as you said, most of us ain't got time to watch it when everyone's watching it for it to have the impact that we want it to have. So for me, it's like, we're all doing this to each other. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? We're all doing this to each other. And we need to really think about that, because if we ask any of the kids who influenced me to say this or treat people like that, they're not going to say big names. They're going to say the influencer. Who's on a podcast and they said this about a girl, and if you don't have 5 girls, you're not the man. Andrew Tate only came around yesterday, bro. Like, he's not, do you know what I mean? So
what do you think? What do you think is the solution though? So in terms of like, obviously you've spoken about being more mindful when we speak, and when you have a lazy conversation about something, you're adding to it. But then, you know, like, I feel like part of the art of being a podcaster, if you can call it an art, is being able to have kind of like genuine conversations about things, right? Do you get what I'm trying to say? And then also, if it's like, if you are, for example, I don't prep for conversations, which is going to sound mad. And obviously, generally anyone I'm bringing on, or we bring on, we know that person in this sort of thing. But it's because I like to have a natural conversation with someone. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And I like it to naturally lead where it leads. If I come in and I've got bare meditated ideas in terms of like, cool, this is what I want to talk. What's going to happen in that conversation as well, that I find anyway, like from where it's happened in the past year, is like, even though you're going somewhere, I'm not one with the spirit, bro. Like, I'm leading you somewhere else. Like, I'm trying to go somewhere else. I'm trying to get this point out, or I'm trying to understand this thing. And that might not be what's required for that conversation. And I wouldn't do that in any other ramification of life. So why am I doing that here?
But if you prepped for a convo or didn't prep, would your views about women change?
No. But then, for example...
So it doesn't matter. The structure of the conversation, like this conversation, as you said, it's not scripted. But because of who the people are in the room, this conversation is not going to a certain place. There's no one's going to lead. No one's going to lead this conversation going, "Oh, women are second-class citizens." Impossible. Even if we only spoke about the Yoruba thing, even how you guys are speaking to me in the conversation, a young person could see this and go, "Oh, you can actually have a chat. You can chat to a girl about something random. That's nothing to do with anything to do with gender. That is the subliminal messaging. Versus, I'm not talking about being like, oh, the outcomes of this has to be X, Y, Z. No, that's obviously, that's a stylistic thing. And at the end of the day, but in terms of the content, and also because of who you are, you can kind of trust the fact that, number one, you're not going to say certain things and you're surrounded by 2 other people who would steer it a certain way. But what if you weren't you? And everyone thinks they're that person who has sense. And then everyone's got a podcast. And now all of a sudden they just think it's a normal thing because that's what they talk to the mandem about. But if you and your mandem talk about mad stuff, your podcast is going to be mad.
Fair enough.
And that's the issue in it. It's like everyone has the access, but no one knows that they're mad.
So, because I remember, like, time ago, that's funny still.
No, but I mean, no one knows. Who here knows that they're mad? You just think, oh, let's do a podcast, but you don't know. You don't know. Sorry, but...
Remember that old school
parable? Don't be sorry, man.
Sorry. You know that parable that I said, so, like, it's not the madman that's ashamed, it's his family.
It's his relatives.
You don't know he's bad.
One eye thing.
Oh, one eye.
The blind. The guy with one eye is
king. But, so on that point, because I remember time ago.
Just quickly, what was the other one about? Something about it's only man that's dead that doesn't fear the knife or something like that.
Oh, fuck up.
That one is flipping funny.
Oh, what is it?
What is it?
It's something like the only one that doesn't fear the knife is the one that's dead or something like that.
I can't. Yeah, it's like, I can't. I'll find it.
Yeah, that is sense.
I'll find it still.
That though.
I have build it, bro. Bro, it's important still. Sometimes
it's not a bad man who's ashamed, it's his relatives.
What is it? Scripture?
No, it's just
I was gonna say Nigerian proverbs.
Nigerian proverbs, bro. That's what it is. All of these things are Nigerian proverbs.
Yeah. Something I remember I read something the other day where it's like, don't go to war with your neighbor's weapons. I know. I think
and it makes sense.
It makes so much sense. And the idea was just basically like, because remember, it's not your own weapon. So when they remove that weapon for you, it's just something mad. Why do you say that? It's so weird.
I can add though. It's very profound though. Don't see how much. And it just shows that there's been wisdom for a long time.
But for a country that has not applied it.
Chai.
Do you know what I mean?
What's so funny?
That's
Yeah, I
another one.
remember someone's like, how do you start a conversation in Nigeria? Yeah,
I saw that.
bro, you just sit down. The person was quiet in the bus. Everyone was quiet. They said, Tinubu. Everyone was like, everyone on the bus like, bro, like, the moment you mention leadership, bro, it's Nigeria.
That's like that uncle we talk about. Like, if you go to his house,
bro.
like, uncle, what's going on in Nigeria?
Him, one uncle, bro.
Said Nigeria.
That uncle, bro, is too crazy. What was I saying though? So time ago, not time ago, but I remember there was a time when there was a particular church, that people wanted us to like chat about, like, you know, bring people on, have conversations about. I remember we were getting DMs about it. We're like, nah, we're not. It's not fruitful, innit? Like, there's nothing that we're gonna gain. So with your point, do you think that there's no point of platforming certain people, like, or having certain conversations? So for example, like Andrew Tate, do you get what I'm trying to say? If someone said, you know what, this podcast talks sense. He talks rubbish. Come on, so that we can debunk your rubbish. Would you say that there's no point of that just because like we're giving him that room to continue to talk rubbish and someone can watch him, even though he's been proved wrong, can still be influenced by his rubbish? Or would you be like, no, that have that conversation?
Him particularly, I'd be like,
Yeah.
you're too far gone because you got charges for mad thing.
Fair.
And it's not worth whatever you think you're going to do. The glory is not having him on. You're not going to transform anyone's life. Like, you have to wait up. Some people feel like, I would love to speak to this, whatever, because it's like, but what are you glorifying? What are you actually going to do with it? Is it the idea that you got him on? Because just because you say you can do something doesn't mean, it's the scripture as well, isn't it? It's like not everything that you can do is beneficial.
Yeah.
And that's something that people don't get. It's not just because you can do it or you're legal that you should do it. What is the benefit here, right? But I would say someone who's not specifically Andrew Tate, someone else, I'd be like, there could, at a certain, and obviously use discernment to decide where in that conversation has he got to where you're like, oh, actually, it's worth meeting him here. Because sometimes it's just, all of us might have these views, we haven't been able to articulate it, so you can't demonize him. He just said something mad. So let's just try and do that thing. But sometimes I'm like, for me personally, I wouldn't. I don't see the point. I don't really see the point in trying to have a conversation with somebody who hasn't said that they want to learn something. Do you get what I'm saying? Sometimes it's like, but has that person said that they want to learn something or they're open to doing it? You can have all the intention that you want to be like, I want to have a conversation. But that's just me. I don't have that. I don't need to talk to people that I don't, not like I don't agree with, but it seems like you're doing something because people want to be like, but you should do, but it's like, it's all fun and games because it's not an issue that you're suffering from. As a woman, personally, the violence of having people platform someone who talks about something like sexual violence, like that, people don't get it. It could be very scary. Same way if someone was like saying they hate black people, that they're tramps, a white person said, let me platform that person to talk to me, you'll be like, that's outrageous. Do you know what he's already said? So from that angle, I think when it comes to sexism and misogyny, I don't think many people understand how it's like, it's a violence to see someone like that. Same way like with the Tommy Robinsons. Which person wants to sit with Tommy Robinson and go, let me try and see if he understands racism? We already know what my man's doing. It's like Nigel Farage. I don't need to interview Nigel Farage. For great TV, cool, but why am I interviewing him? You already know what he's saying, and it's a violence to the people that he's dehumanized. So I think it's also when you put yourself in a position of who are the primary victims of this conversation is one thing. But if I'm not the primary victim, I could definitely see going, come on here, let's chat. But if I was someone who was used and abused by certain churches, I wouldn't understand the benefit. I'd be like, okay, cool. It's because you don't see yourself as the victim of that. And so it feels like the consequence, there's less stakes involved. You know what I mean? But obviously there are people that are able to do it and they can come on and thingy, but I'll be like, be careful because you don't have to have that conversation in public as well. I think some people like the public thing. It's like, if you really wanted to reason with any of these people, why can't you just reason with them? People like to hide behind, let's have a public platform, but you could have a secret conversation. Maybe you record it. If it comes out great, post it. But why must it be that it's already, regardless of where it went, it was reduced? And that's why I feel like they like the entertainment side of this thing. People want to be visible with these conversations. They want to lead it. It was never for the outcome. It was never for the outcome. It was just to say, my sit down with and like, you got the views and engagement. And when we all left of it, I ain't seen an interview yet that after you spoke to that mad person, I was like, oh, thank you. it's never happened.
I've seen that they've tried to start doing that kind of stuff in so you know, like not newsreaders, I don't know what the right journalists, but where you have some journalists that actually do try and pin someone down and ask the hard questions and do not let up. So I do see more of that. And to be fair, the truth is, a lot of the times that does happen, and obviously if I'm talking about journalists, it's going to be on mainstream media. The person is well equipped to meander through those questions and not actually leave it. They'll leave it with some form of stain, but not like, do you know what I mean? Not necessarily what the person who's asking the questions intended. You get?
Yeah. And then there was also that what's his name? Is it Ben Carson?
Billy Carson.
Billy Carson.
Yeah.
Like he's one black guy and say one black guy. I don't actually know. Like,
lazy.
guy. I don't know one black guy. Jokes. I don't know what he does. Do you get what I'm saying? I don't know what he does. He talks about like life, religion.
You Brent for this one, bro.
Yeah, for real. Like he talks about like religion and basically quotes a lot of like misinformation.
Yeah.
And there was
Is he British?
No, he's American.
Okay.
And there was another American theologian who jumped on with him and they had a conversation. And that's the first time I've heard Billy Carson speak, right? But, you know, I've heard that, he knows his stuff, but he debunks a lot of faith. In that conversation, every point he was ripped apart. No. So it's kind of like, I was like, fam, what's this to you that people were saying? So even till today, I have not heard one thing he says because now I'm just like, you're not a credible guy. I feel like that conversation to me was quite...
It was good,
It felt beneficial, because it was like, the truth combated like falseness and it made an impact. Do you know what I mean?
Before, what was he debunking? He was just debunking things, right? He didn't have he wasn't like there's an agenda. Like he wasn't. Did he have beliefs of like these people are this like?
I know what you mean. Like,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
That's okay.
I know what you mean.
Like,
so I think
if you came on and was like, if there was a person who was like, I think black people are second class citizens. That's my whole journey, that's my whole thing. Then I'm discussing and then I've been platformed and I'm having a debate and I've been proven wrong that actually black people are equal. That's very different from someone being like, I'm just critical of an ideology. That's easier. It's exchange of ideas. Where the strongest idea wins. It's great. It's nice. That person even leaves going, you know what, fair enough, whatever it is. That's fine. That's been from kingdom come. It has to happen. You need to see, it's almost like the gladiator of ideas. It needs to battle out sometimes. Sometimes you just need to see someone go, do you know what? And I think a lot of our pastors need to do that as well. Like, I want to see you talk. When you're not talking to a congregation that you feel like is less informed than you, have a conversation about something that's scholarly. And that's my whole thing, not to move away, but that's my whole thing is that there's a lot of people that want the authority of certain things, but they never challenge. They're not putting themselves in a position where it's like, me, I'm coming to you every time, giving you my tithe. Every time you say something, I'm saying amen, amen. Because you can feel the power in the room. You are the center. But sit with people of your on your level and discuss a topic that's nothing to do with trying to get us to faith, but where you should be as scholars. Don't really see that as often no more. So it's like, where are you pouring from? Because there's no way you are the only cup and before you, it's the Bible. That's you. So we're learning, so you're reading the Bible, you're getting all this wisdom and then you come to us, but there's no one that's even sharpening your thing.
Pause, but do you know what it is? I think there's definitely like,
it's crazy.
But what it is, I think that's one of the things that happens behind closed doors because you do hear about it. You do hear about them bearing up each other in prayer and obviously prayer meetings and conversations and all that kind of stuff. Obviously it's not as mainstream and I don't think it necessarily has to be. And obviously where you've got a church where, so for example, like our church we've grown up in, there's bare pastors, there's a presbytery and all that kind of stuff. And because of that, they have their meetings, leadership meetings, all of that kind of stuff. And that kind of stuff does happen. They've got even like, back in the day, there was like ICI, which was like church leaders and it was like this Bible study for them basically, innit? Just for people to continue to, exactly what you're saying in terms of iron sharpens iron, innit? What I was going to say though, like just like kind of going back to your point, was like Billy Carson's vibe was that it's almost like the whole Christians are fanatics thing. And they've stolen a lot from the Anunnaki and this, that, and the other, and these Asian, this, that, and the other. Not like Christianity is basically false, basically, innit? Like it's not real because of. So he's actually come on there with that kind of ideology. But then where's Huff, the person who basically debunked everything he's been saying, did was, well, actually, history proves this because boom, boom, boom. What you're referring to is a forge, or a well-known forge. So any historian would know that. Any credible historian would know that. And that's how we completely dismantle these points. And the point I wanted to raise about that was that my thing is even with what you said as well. So where are you meeting the person in the conversation? Yeah. But then also, are you equipped to have that conversation? Because I feel like that's where a lot of people in media do the topic injustice, right? So so for example, like there's certain things where you don't need to be that well equipped to talk about. I think we're all agreed on that, yeah? You could just say, all right, cool, this thing's wrong, yeah? Done. Yeah. But then there's certain things, yeah, it's like the moment you bring this person on your platform, like, you know, like, someone even spoke about it. The person that brought Billy Carson to West Huff, yeah, and even set that whole thing up, his neighbor, called himself a Christian. And again, I'm not here to dispute that or anything like that. But then when Billy Carson was saying certain things, now people started getting onto the neighbor and basically saying, right, like you're calling yourself a Christian, like you shouldn't be nodding and going along with what you're saying, like you should know. But he just wasn't, and he said it like, listen, I'm relatively new to the faith, like I don't really have this kind of knowledge sort of thing in it. That's why I'm getting someone that does to come and talk to us about it. Yeah. So I think that's a massive thing as well in terms of like whether you're going to platform someone with like very, do you know what I mean, strong views in that.
No, but based on the both things that you said about like church leaders and that reading and doing that stuff, and then this thing as well. I think in terms of like it's like a dance, innit? It's like with a dance with two people, there's people dancing, but the audience is also very much part of the situation. So if you're gonna do all that stuff, there's one thing to be like, someone can say that they're right and wrong, but also no one knows who lost that argument as well. Because what are we saying is our role here? If someone can be articulate, that's the only reason that you know that he's debunked that stuff. Because how do you know he's debunked it? Like when you genuinely say he's debunked all this stuff, it's like I can go, but in 1 BC this had happened. Do you not know that?
Yeah. So to be fair,
do you know what I mean? That's what's interesting about that conversation. It's like people can say anything, but a lot of it is also the performance of it, of being like, I'm articulate, I'm saying this, and you don't know. It's just what sounds good. And that's the thing about the media, is that it's not really who's right. It's really who can say it in like a poetic, succinct way. Someone that can say something, but on the technicality, what are we saying this actually means? How do you even debunk something? None of us was even there.
Yeah, so I think based on that, yeah, so just to do the conversation justice, yeah, like he was based on, yeah, I agree with your point, by the way, because anyone can say anything and anyone can say anything about any given point in time. And that's literally what like Billy Carson's brand was, yeah. But it's like almost like based on their world, historians, the things that they use to give validity to certain historical events and all that kind of stuff, he's using that kind of level of credibility, the same sources and things like that Billy Carson would be using, basically, in terms of the same methodology, let me say, So you'll be looking at historic text that was found in XYZ that talks about certain times and XYZ, boom, boom, boom. So he's using the same platform, basically. So he's saying, okay, cool. So you're saying that this text was found in XYZ, these scrolls, whatever it is, boom, boom, boom. I'm telling you that these scrolls are, by every historian in where you would say that this is credible from, they're all saying that this is a well-known forged. Why? Because it's got certain inaccuracies and all that kind of stuff. So he was really going toe-to-toe with that kind of side of things,
which is definitely effective. And I feel like in uni, I did, one of my topics was Islamic empires. And it was like, I studied economic history.
We're going to get into them. Don't worry about it.
Sorry. But anyway, so the point is that, we had to do a lot of like scholarly stuff. And the thing with like, with religion, you have to kind of read the religion, read like how you interpret it, but then also look at the worldly side of it, like the overarching governance system, but then also look at it compared to other religions that are at that time. So it's such a extensive piece of work that it's like, it's with religion and all that stuff. It just goes roundabout. Because even that person that's saying it's forged, it's like, the issue isn't that it's forged sometimes. The issue is, are we saying that it's not true? Do you get what I'm saying? Because sometimes it's like, I could forge something, but what I'm forging is true. It's just that the forging means that you didn't write it. So with faith and with religion, sometimes it's like, what are we saying is important here? Yeah. Are we saying from a scholarly literary point of view that because this text was not written by Jesus, for example, therefore it's invalid? Are we saying that? Because that's another conversation versus, are we saying that he didn't say these things?
Yeah.
And then are you saying that it needs to come from him directly for it to be said? Then what are we saying after? I think that's the thing with the scholarly thing that goes beyond the whether it's forged. And that's what we were taught. It was like, yeah, don't get me wrong. All of this, man has forged all of this stuff. And I was not there when it was written. So it's a waste of my time as a non-historian to really go rah, rah, rah. But what am I trying to say here? To the extent of where I'm invested, what am I trying to say is important? Because we can all go home now and go, yeah, it was all forged. But does that mean I have no faith? And does that mean everything you've seen today in your life, your marriage, everything disproves God?
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? So it's nothing to do with what you're saying, but it's
Yeah.
interesting in terms of like...
I feel what you're saying.
Yeah,
I feel what you're saying. I
It's
think
interesting.
I
I
think
think
there's two
definitely
parts,
when they say the forge thing, they're obviously trying to discount it from the conversation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think what's good about what you're saying is like similar to a conversation we had with Brent the other day actually, and he was talking about, listen, like even if like certain times people attack certain things, that they feel like will shake your faith and all that kind of stuff. So just on the point of like, if we're saying, oh, it wasn't written by Jesus' hand and and boom, 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 does that mean it's all forgery and we discount it all and all that kind of stuff? But it's like, listen, since then so much has happened, and like we've still encountered the true living God till today. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So it's like, I feel like sometimes people get it wrong. You know, like when we talk about cleverly devised arguments and all that kind of stuff that's going to happen around these end times and all that kind of stuff, it's like we half don't even need to get involved in these conversations about theology and all that. Don't get it twisted. Like I feel like, do you know what? To be honest with you, I feel like there's room on both sides.
Of course.
I feel like there's room on both sides.
Has to be.
But I feel like for some, it's actually all right to not engage in all of that and just because this is a relational thing at the end of the day. Like our relationship with God matters. Do you get what I'm saying? And not on some just God sees my heart. I'm not saying it on that vibe. I'm saying it on the vibe of like, listen, like we're supposed to be getting closer to God, and that's based on our interactions with God. Do you get what I'm saying? Yes, we read our word to get closer to Him and understand Him more and all that kind of stuff. But it's like, basically, essentially, we don't have to...
I agree, because there's always two roots of things, isn't it? There's always they're not separate, but there's the faith element, and then, which is a key connection, but there's also intellectualism in it. And I think that's the way that certain people connect. Do you know what I mean? That's certain people's route into understanding. And I feel like at times, like when we're talking debating religions or ideologies, it's more so like, what is me and Brent were talking the other day, like what's the most reasonable thing here? And what we're both saying, what's more reasonable? So it's not even saying that, like, because intellectualism, like you said, we can keep going back and finding things that are false, but what's more reasonable? So if you admire person A and your text is from person A from the 2000s, my religion, you're saying is false, but it's come from person A in the 1800s. It's like, no, what you're saying doesn't make sense anymore. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And it's that kind of discussion that we're going to start having a case. So what's more reasonable to believe? Like, you start talking about like faiths, the age of the faiths, what came before. Like you said, who wrote the text? Were these people who were like highly regarded as people who speak truth? Well, what else did these people say? Like, if the same person who commented on gravity is the same person who commented on the life of Jesus, like, okay, like we believe that, so why don't we believe? And it's those kind of conversations, isn't it? But at the end of it, those cannot be the foundation of your faith, innit? Like it's, course, and I hear it, like it's great conversation. Do you get me? And it does make you think, but it can never be the basis of your faith. Like, the base of your faith is your faith. Do you get what I'm saying? That's actually what it comes down to. That's the basis of it. Is a faith, is a belief. Do you get me? Like the I'm going to Hebrew say the evidence of things that unseen. Unseen. Do you get me? The song that says like the invisible God, like that's your faith, innit? Do you get me? So, but it's always interesting though. It's always interesting.
Yeah, I think
it's always nice.
It's always nice to hear.
And it's like, you know, the whole thing, like the conversation, because for example, you see like even when we talk about historical texts and people go down the whole manuscripts and all that kind of stuff and that pathway, it's like, I was just thinking about this now as you were saying it, and to be honest with you, like, I don't want this to be a lazy conversation, innit? But do you know what it is? It's like
you're gonna lose bare belief.
Do you know what it is? You know, like when you talk about like the oldest like text or like religious text, it's not the Torah, innit? Like, we know that, right? So we know it's not the Torah, innit? But then when you think about actually when the Torah was written and who it was written by, they say obviously Moses wrote the Torah, right? So the first 5 books of the Bible. And obviously when you think about it now, I'm just thinking about it now, I'm thinking about the number of years that actually passed that Moses actually covers. Like, so actually, because, and the reason why I'm saying all of this, just so you lot understand what I'm saying. I can't remember the name of the book, but it's like a Hindu like religious text that they say is older than the Torah.
Yeah, the
right?
Kurdish, not the Kurdish, that Vinny. This I know what you're talking about.
But they say that that's older than the Torah.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
then the events in the Torah obviously span or go earlier than essentially in it. Because things like, for example, 430 years passed from the time of Joseph and then Moses, and Moses, and that's like what, Moses. Yeah, but like, and that's only 430 years. But think about all of the people that were living to crazy ages in Noah's time. Think about Methuselah. Think about all of that. Think about all of the fact that all of those years have happened. Enoch, all of that kind of stuff. Yeah. All of those years have happened before this whole 430 and Moses and all that kind of stuff and all the stuff that we know. Even think about Abraham, all that. Bro, like a good 2,000. Bro, it's like over 2,000 years. To be fair, I haven't done the calculation. This is a raw thought, innit? But it's just funny how without, and this is what I'm saying. So this is why I'm saying I feel like it's good on both sides, because for someone else, and we said this the other day when we was talking, it was like, for someone else, they're gonna have a conversation and someone's gonna say to them, I'm not even gonna say what that one was before that opens a can of worms, but someone's gonna say to them something, and the person's gonna think like, oh right, I didn't know that. So for example, like what I just said now, there's an older text than the Torah. Yeah. And someone's gonna look at that and be like, oh right, so what does that mean for God and Adam and Eve and X, Y, Z and boom, 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 yeah? Like, should I know this? Like, should I have studied this? That it kind of starts rocking you in that way. What else don't I know? And and all that kind of stuff, yeah. And then it comes back to like really and truly, but you've had an encounter with God, Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So regardless of whether this aspect of it turns out to be true or not, what really holds true in the end sort of thing. And I know we can't just go based on encounters because people have encounters with spirits and they think it's God. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So but just something I was thinking of.
Oh, makes sense though.
Hey, you're listening to Bible Babes and Banter.
All right, we like to do testimonies, innit? So we believe that God is constantly working, and we like to highlight that because testimonies encourage faith. So let's go around.
It's not a Christian podcast.
No,
I'm just saying for people who are joining.
No.
It's not a Christian podcast. It's led by Christians.
No, bro. Do you know what
Right?
I like what you're saying still. I like what you're asking.
Right?
So it's like, so it's not necessarily a Christian podcast, but we are Christian men.
Yeah. So therefore,
because of that, we give glory to God, regardless of if he's Christian or not.
In
every space, in every opportunity you get.
You have to loud it. You have to loud it.
Is this released on Sundays?
Yeah.
That's actually nothing. That's just
to help people with the working week, innit?
Beginning of the week, innit?
They come out at the start of the week. We still believe Sundays the beginning of the week, innit?
Yeah.
Do you still rest on Sundays?
Nah, I don't. I mean, we try to not do as much. You have like a siesta on a Sunday, if obviously if time permits and that falls. What do you do on a Sunday?
I try to rest.
Okay, you try to rest. Okay. Are you a Christian?
That's a good question.
You know nowadays not everyone labels themselves as.
It's true.
It's true, you know.
It's actually true.
I don't really.
Is it?
I do, but I don't.
Follow of Christ?
I just don't talk about myself in that way.
I don't think anyone does nowadays, to be honest. I don't even think we do, but we say it when we are
when you're asked, because you don't want to be like, I'm like stuttering, I'm embarrassed. It's not that thing. It's more like...
Yeah. And also, I think it's sometimes a tick box. Like, you know, you do an application and they're like, are you like black, African?
Oh, yeah. Diversity question.
I think why am I? I'm going to tick the box that was closest.
Do you tick the Christian box as well? When it asks you?
I do. Yeah.
Do you?
I think so.
We're saying other.
But sometimes I feel like, don't worry. Because why are you asking me? I'm so confused.
Statistics.
I'm very so confused.
Statistics. What did you say?
Statistics.
I've never seen them release that in the EDI report though. Like this organisation is 56% Christian.
Yeah.
So what did they use it for?
What about when they ask what profession did your parents do?
I don't get why they ask all that stuff.
I hate that stuff because they're trying
Classism.
they're trying to, and I never really meet the indicators.
Yeah.
So sometimes I just say I was eligible for fiscal meal.
Yeah,
I'm sure I was eligible, but I didn't take it. But,
yeah, it's the same.
But they say did anyone in your family go to uni?
Yeah. That one's there as well.
And I'm like,
it's just none of your business though.
But then I don't get it. So like, do you feel like these are like positive or negative multipliers?
I think it's I think it's
for you getting a role.
I get in a role. No, do you know? I get what they're trying to do to be like they don't discriminate. They want to people from this, right? But at a certain age, I'm also like, what are we saying about free school meals 20 years ago? At this point, you're my first job, so you're not helping me out of poverty.
It's like background, isn't it?
Yeah, but then I'm also like, I think sometimes they're very rigid or narrow indicators of what life was. So there's a lot of information, there's a lot of like data that has come out where it's like a lot of people's families' salary might have been above a threshold, but because of debt, you didn't have access to a lot of things. But no one's gonna ask, oh, was your parents' salary above this, but were you in a lot of debt? Like the loan shark era, or bare people's families having that. Like, how do you show them that? All they're gonna ask is your salary, or if you went to uni. But also people whose parents went to uni but didn't translate into UK, and now they're doing thingy jobs. What do I say? They went uni, but here they had to start from the. You know what I mean? It's a bit like.
Yeah,
it's
almost like getting into that is a bit too personal. Do you know
what I mean? For a job. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? For a job, that's why it's like. Did you just say other? Anything else you want to share?
Yeah. Anything else you want to share? And obviously, listen, like, obviously, more doses more than obviously my heart goes out to anyone who's going through a tough time. But you know, like the stories that they do, like X Factor and that. That's what you start putting in that box. Anything else, you start saying,
At these times, you know,
I quit my job to be here.
Don't be saying that it doesn't affect your application. That'd be better. I'm telling this story.
I'll kick off with testimony.
Yeah, sorry.
Obviously,
being as a Christian,
so yeah, I'm getting married this year, as you know, everybody knows on that. Cheers. Appreciate it, man. God is good, man. We had our first prayer call the other day, like with the man a minute. And it's just good to be around like your actual bros. Do you know what I mean? And actually come together and pray together. Like when I look on the call, it's actually people from my earliest memories up until now, innit? And like every point in my life, they've all been there, innit? And now it's like, right, cool, we're joining together. We're actually praying together for my wedding. That was one of those moments where it was like, oh crap. No, I'm actually getting married. Like, this is actually the call for me. So at the end of the call, it was like, well, any updates and that. So it's been given back to me, sort of thing. So I just thank God for my brothers. And being able to have that as well, because a lot of people don't actually have that. And I've never fallen out with anyone. Like, I've never had any sort of falling out with any of them. It's just been like, it's been my guys. Up until now. So
you fell out still.
She did it.
But you fell out with him?
Time ago.
Yeah, fair enough.
Time ago. I tell you, if I start busting it, if I tell you what if I tell you, you know that whole story about when I was like, I'm dead or whatever on the phone?
Yeah.
Do you remember the other stuff around that time?
No, with that particular person?
Not that particular person. So it was then like the next look. Anyway, it's not even funny. It's not. This is not a conversation.
That's
for
funny.
Everyone. Do you get? But yeah, no, it was proper funny though.
No, don't mind us.
Yeah, honestly,
And the listeners.
Hey, it's hilarious still.
Nice.
I'll go next though. Do you know what it is? Last month, I just had bare payments. Bare things are going wrong. Like, I'll be driving, I'll be hearing a rattling noise. You gotta pay that. Then they'll do a deeper dive. There's something else needs to get paid for. I was like, fam, then I have to go and get a new part for the car. I say, like, this dealership don't do it. You have to go to the main dealer. Bro, there was just so many expenses. The house, I had to do boom, boom. Fam, so far this month, I've had no expenses.
Yeah, man.
Nice.
Honestly, bro, I just feel like a moment of calm. Like, there's just not random money. Like, the other day, it's funny because I looked at my account. I was like, fam, what hasn't come out yet?
Hey.
I'm thinking, this doesn't seem right.
It's actually so funny.
It doesn't seem right, bro. Like, what hasn't come out yet? Has something been missed? Like, kind of thinking it. But I was just like, listen, thank God for some respite, man. I need a break, fam. So listen, long may it continue. Long may it continue.
Sometimes it's the weekend they let you rest though.
I'm
saying sometimes I feel like it's happening on Monday. But hopefully Monday.
God forbid.
Thank you, man. Be praying.
I'm new. I forgot testimonies.
No.
It's a weekend to say, you know, Monday will leave.
Enjoy your day of rest, boy.
They know you got a podcast.
Yeah.
Like, it's a Christian man.
For me, it was just I think I've given a similar testimony before, but I was just chatting to my missus. It was just mad how like the spirit was one, so we went out to eat or whatever. And And it was just like, do you know what? Like, we actually like our life. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, don't get twisted again. Similar. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on and all that kind of stuff. Like, things could be better. We're still striving for certain things and all that kind of stuff. But we actually just thank God. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, it's not easy. Like, raising a family, all that kind of stuff. Like, there's a lot of stuff. And do you know what? We had a conversation about marriage in it, and I was just like, you know, a lot of people talk about how like the first 5 years, like a lot of people don't make it past the first 5 years. And do you know what it is? That the reason why I don't really like actually doing what I'm doing now, which is talking about it like this year, is because people would then start seeing 5 years as a milestone to reach. And if it goes to 6 years and we stop at 6,
then everyone's like,
all that kind of stuff. You get?
Yeah, that's true.
But I was just having a conversation. I was like, right, because we spoke to one of our pastors at church, and obviously he was celebrating like his 19 years and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, no, this is lit. And I was like, to him, bro, any advice? Like, obviously not, bro. I was like, don't put any advice in it. Like, and to be honest with you, I probably did say, bro. Like,
they actually start doing the birthing thing, though.
No, but it is.
Start
It's more
saying
about
it best,
it's
though,
more
I
about me,
didn't understand.
less about them.
Yeah.
Like, bro, remember the other day, yeah, we was at your crib, and it was like, I think your mum called or whatever it is.
Oh yeah.
And at the end of the call, bro, certain times I go into this automatic thing, yeah, and I say automatic things. So like his mum's coming off the phone. I was like, oh yeah, like, cheers. And then his mum was like,
that still.
his mum was like, fella, you not drinking there? And I was like, yo. I was like, listen, I'm so sorry, man. Like, listen, I don't know what was going through my mind.
That's like work trauma.
Yeah, bro, listen.
Man said kind regards.
But yeah, anyway. Listen,
Yeah,
long
that's
story
good.
short, like we started talking about marriage and all that kind of stuff. It was just good to be aligned and talking about, obviously, like 6 years going, so thank God for that. But yeah, man, that's my testimony.
That's
That's
cool.
nice.
That's
That's
cool.
great.
So.
My recent testimony is an obvious one. I did a TEDx on Friday.
Yeah.
Come on.
Congrats.
So yeah, no, that was really good. It was in Brighton, and it's been a busy year, everything, and you don't really think about it. You know, sometimes you're just like, oh yeah, I got this to do, but then you don't really stop and go, it's actually a big thing that you got to do. Like, even though it's busy, it's actually like, you need to be like, rah. So I think with all the busyness, I think the night when I was about to get on, I was like, rah, TEDx, like, let me not be too busy to not take it in. Do you know what I mean? So it was really nice. And Beth, like, friends came, my brother, my sister came as well. Like, just being from London and people being in Brighton to celebrate you. So in a way, it's like, So when we sat to eat, it was like, oh, we're even sitting in Brighton, and you're thinking, why for me? So, and it was a nice day. Even went to the beach after. So yeah, just like, just grateful, very much grateful for that.
That's sick.
So,
That's sick, man.
That's sick.
So, how did it go?
It was really good. It was really good. Well, everyone said it was really good. So when the video comes out, obviously I'll share it with you guys. But it was really nice.
That's good, man.
No, when you said that before you went on, you were taking it in. Like what? Like how? Like what did you do to?
I think it's like, in it, obviously you're not praying, but you're like, all right, God, this is the moment, innit? Like this is the moment. I was trying to say, first of all, I was like, thank you for this moment, and thank you for everything up until this point, because the glory can't just be in the fact that I've done it. Like the fact that you were chosen, selected to do it, you're healthy enough to stand here. People came out. If this goes wrong, I can't throw the baby out the bathwater. There's still other things to be grateful for. And then it was like, you start realizing, there's people in the audience like that actually there. You don't deep it until then. And it was just like taking control. And because the theme of what I was saying was about faith and politics, it's also even more like, wow, because you're like, this is not a place that you really talk about faith. And even in my life, I'm like, I'd never thought I'd be in a place where I'll use such a stage to talk about faith. Do you know what I mean? With politics. So I think there was a lot going on. It's just like, okay, that's why I felt a lot more comfortable, because like, at the end of the day, I'm not asking God for success in a worldly conversation. You know, sometimes you ask God to help you with something that doesn't even serve him. You know, like, I want this job, but it's like, this job doesn't even serve me. So but you're praying. But at least I felt like I'm actually talking about faith. So if anything, let me just make sure I'm accurately like delivering your message and saying it correctly. That was my main thing. So I think all of that was just very surreal. I think anything to do with faith in like a public setting is always that. But yeah, just a lot of like calm. Let me go in and so.
No, that's cool. That's cool.
When is the video coming out? You know?
It could take anywhere between days and weeks. So I don't know. So maybe next week I'll find out more about it. So.
Make sure you share about that.
Yeah, I will share. Of course.
Look forward to that.
Come on, calm. But yeah, man, let's do a little game. You know what I mean? Little game. So let me just quickly explain it. So.
I'm scared of this.
Essentially, what we do, we pick a random item in this room, yeah, and you have a minute to make a sermon out of it. Yeah, you have 1 minute. There's no thinking time. Yeah. We pick and we start the timer, and you go. Yeah, and as always, I always demonstrate. So, you guys, feel free to pick an item.
Yeah, there's no thinking time. So you got 1 minute to do it.
Yeah, I know you said it. You just want to scare me.
No. This is TED Talk Part 2.
Sunglasses.
Sunglasses, yeah. All right, cool. 3, 2, 1. In this life, there's a lot of things that can block your vision. There's a lot of things that you need to be shielded from. Some things are in dark places. Other things are in bright places. Not everything that's bright is good. And not everything that's dark is bad. As children of God, we're called to be in the light. We're called to be in the light. You may see a light path and think, everyone else is walking towards there, so should I. I'm asking you now to put on your shades, see that light is not necessarily good. Go to the dark places and be the shining light that you've been called to be. Don't follow what everyone else is doing, but instead, look at God, look at the word, follow the wise men of old, and be the light in this world. Amen.
Amen.
That was nice.
Thank you.
That was nice.
Well done.
Thank you. So, that's the example.
Okay. That was great.
Yeah? All right, cool. So who wants to go next?
For you, I usually go second. I don't want to go second today. So I usually go second. I don't want to go second today.
Right.
Yeah?
It's just kind of like the natural order of things. Like.
Just don't want to do it.
I'll go last.
Yeah, you go last.
You go
Okay,
last.
go last. Okay.
Yeah, but don't help in it because you don't have the item in it. So.
No. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, that's how
We'll prep time, innit?
So why do you want to go second?
Still don't know.
We'll chat after.
All right, cool. And
Ooh, I was looking at that bottle. I was looking at that bottle, you know. I was looking at that bottle still.
All right, cool. 3, 2, 1.
So like, I feel I keep on talking about last year. How last year was like a very tough year for what it seemed like the body of Christ. It seemed like there was like a very heavy cloud weighing on the brethren. Like a lot was going on, and I feel like this year we are starting to feel different. Or we do feel different. We've got a lot more hope. Like, and to be fair, sometimes this does happen at the beginning of the year, right? Everyone has New Year resolutions, all that kind of stuff. We start the year with, all right, cool, these are our plans and aspirations for the year. And because of that, we're buzzing, like we're excited. But I feel like what happens if we try to make that excitement last, right? Well, sorry, that excitement doesn't last normally, right? And what we need is constant energizers. Yeah. What that leads us to doing is obviously joining certain meetings and stuff like that. But essentially what I'm trying to say, yeah, and I'm trying to rush it now because of the time and all that kind of stuff, yeah. Let me just, what I'm trying to say, because, for time anyway, yeah, it's just that, listen, the only energy that we need comes from the word, and that's sustainable energy. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Using all of these like temporary boosts and all that kind of stuff, it's not going to work out in that.
He's here, rapper.
You have to. You know church.
Do you know what it is? There's bare times I tried to look at the time. This guy had turned to look at it himself.
No,
how am I supposed to keep track of the time?
Let's check the video. I've never turned this to me. I did not turn.
You build up your ones, bare.
Yeah, but didn't he turn the camera towards him to look at the time?
I didn't turn it.
You done it like bare times, bro.
I did so.
There's bare times I looked at the figure and he was like this.
It's like, guess.
Yeah.
Bro, what the hell?
You ready?
Let's crack one.
All right.
No, you should.
Next.
That cat, the gold cat.
All right. Cool. 3, 2, 1.
There's many idols that we can like have in this life, innit? I think back in the days we look at bigger things, innit? So for example, like a golden cat, like a calf, like a statue or something like that. But nowadays they come in different forms. Like a lot of the time it can be individuals, it could be your career, it can be like social media. But what we need to do is rejig our sort of thinking and look at these things as idols as well. And a lot of the time the enemy's not going to use the obvious things like statues, cats and all of those sorts of things, but he'll use the things that we don't necessarily see as idols and make those things exalt themselves above above God, which is what an idol is. We need to do some self-evaluation, looking at in our lives and see how we place certain things on the pedestal and ultimately make those things idols. And we should not have any idols. God is our only God. Amen.
Amen.
That was great.
Yeah.
Cheers.
What done, mate?
All right.
I got one.
Boy.
I got one for her.
You got one, yeah?
Apple Watch.
No, but why? Nah.
Was it hard?
Why?
Do you think that's good, yeah?
I don't know what's good.
Who's you going to say?
It's just like, it's a bit like, but anyway.
Well, it's difficult.
No, go
Yeah.
It's
You think?
If you're fine with it, if you're fine with it.
All right, ready, yeah? All right, cool.
This is TED Talk. TED Talk beside
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Sometimes when we think about where we want to go and what we want to do in this life, like we put ourselves on a timer. It means that we often rush through. You know, we don't think about actually the best way to spend that time. We're so focused on the destination, and therefore the destination shapes what we're doing versus it being do things. And then wherever you end up in that place, sometimes it's better to know that you got there because you were really thinking about it and really, you know, if I'm making sense, but yeah, know that you're really thinking about it. And we live in a capitalist society as well. So rushing is such a big thing. And when you rush in this world, you don't take the time to speak to God. And so now everywhere you go, everything is digital. Everything is about how quickly can you do it, and how quick you can do it tends to be something that's seen as better. So for example, now everyone has an Apple Watch, right? Because even when you're walking, you want to make sure that you're counting steps. If you're eating food, you want to count the calories. If you're watching television, you look at like, how much television am I watching? How much can I fit in before I go to bed? And you're not thinking about, actually, is this thing serving me? Oh, actually, okay, fair enough. Not bad. Not bad.
Listen,
not bad.
But this is it.
I wanted
Was it okay?
I wanted to land.
And this is what I'm saying, yeah. So I think, yeah, even though I do the whole build-up thing, you lot can say that and all that kind of stuff, I do think like I think if you've got like a really good point to land, it should be able to go over 1 minute.
Nah, that's
I didn't even know if it was good. I thought
because do you know what it is though? But it's worse to finish under 1 minute and just be like, amen.
Nah, you got time still.
You got time, bro.
You got time.
You got to make
I guess you got 30 seconds to build
No,
up,
but I
30
thought
seconds to
the
land.
whole challenge. Let me know what you think, right? Because you're the guest. So but like, I felt like the challenge of the game is the fact that you've got to do it quickly. So you've got to think of something with no prep time.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Versus-
Within a minute.
Versus like, you've only got a minute to say it.
Yeah,
Do you
but
get
you
what
have to do
I'm
it
saying?
within both. It's both.
Yeah.
No. But the challenge is more the fact that you've got to think on your feet. Like,
Yeah,
that's
both,
more the
both.
challenge.
Within that time.
It's both.
Like, it's difficult to do it in a
That
period of time.
doing it between that time period is not a great challenge, if I'm being honest with you.
It's both. I'm not gonna lie though. I wanted
People
to hear
actually take away. Exactly.
Was it
People
okay?
take away.
I
I
wanted
genuinely
to hear
was
it
just
still.
like, oh my God, how am I going to do this Apple Watch? But anyway, and I
No, I wasn't hearing it because I heard the time.
Yeah.
And I heard you get me the watching it, you get me the walking. Thinking, hey, you're going so good.
And I was trying. But I mentioned Apple Watch.
You did.
It was surface. It wasn't like
No, you did.
But I did what I could
It was
do.
good though.
You can't just mention
It was good.
it. It doesn't have to be about it.
And you said counting steps.
Counting steps.
Yeah.
Oh, it was good.
I really liked it because it wasn't like you're not trying to be too on the nose.
Yeah.
Like,
Built
but it's
around
like-
it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
You know, you got
Oh,
that.
thank you. You guys are supportive. More support than I thought you'd be. That's good.
Right.
What's this? Christian podcast.
I'm not
Right, what's
Yeah,
up?
just.
I told you. I said gold cat. He said idols. Is that what I told you? Is that what I told you it is? What? Did I told you it's an idol? Did I told you it's a gold cat?
What is it?
It's a gold cat.
It's an idol, bro.
Oh.
People worship that, man.
Who worships that? Think about where it is.
In one
One
place.
place, bro.
Alright, cool. So
Egypt, bro. They bang out cats.
We're asking
Egypt.
masters. We're asking masters.
Egypt, bro. Egypt. Bang out cats,
I
man.
hear it. It must be Marrakesh.
Hey, man, but listen, we have someone special in the building.
Special guest in
You get what I'm
the
trying to say?
building.
We have our social commentator.
Come on.
You get me? The people's political correspondent.
my
Come on.
You get me? Our TED Talk specialist.
Come on.
You get me? Shout out Messiah Twins in the
Come
building,
on.
man. Welcome.
Is it, listen, our political activist.
political-
Is it Pepe, Julian? Is it welcome? Is it that thing?
Welcome.
Welcome.
So why are you
Why are you gay?
hey, how you feeling, man? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. It's nice to be here. I feel like I don't speak to you guys at length that much, you know what I mean? So it's good to see you.
Nah.
Why are you laughing?
What normally happens when I see you, which is
Yeah.
start poking fun, is like, what you did here? Like,
Are
you a Christian? Are you a Christian?
Yeah.
What you did?
Yeah, can I see you at places that I don't know
Sorry,
Christians.
was that You actually banged that.
No, I'm just saying.
What are you talking about? Like where?
You actually banged
where?
that.
Oh, yeah, someone's house.
What you did
Wait,
there?
did I see?
What
Wait,
you did
I'm
there?
thinking about it.
That
Last time I
you
saw you when we did the BT. Before I saw you somewhere, innit? Yeah. No, that's what I wanted to know, because I just wanted to know. I would have left it, but since you said where, I was trying to remember. Now I remember.
No, we was both there, innit? Like,
Yeah.
It was my friend's birthday, innit?
Yeah.
So this is my
What was
friend's
it?
birthday.
What day was it?
I
Was Saturday?
remember. I think so, maybe.
Also, before you recorded the Christian podcast
Yeah.
the next day. Fair enough, man.
I'm listening. We can even do that podcast on
We'll
the
do it
roof.
right
That's
after.
what-
We'll do it live on there. Live on there, bro.
The
shisha will be
What?
there.
We can
Is
do
it?
what?
Is
We can do
it?
shisha back. Blow shisha, blow it.
Is
Do back.
it?
Blow circles, fam.
Yeah,
I feel like we have to clarify because people will be thinking, fam, where was
Where was he?
No, it was just like a shisha lounge.
Fair enough. Trust me, I know. Besides, I was outside still.
Me, no. I was there for the same birthday.
Yeah.
I was there for the birthday. Are you okay?
No, you wasn't. You did with your
It's
girls, bro.
Ade's cousin was a celebrant.
Fairs.
Yeah.
Fairs.
So that was a lie that you
Fairs.
said.
No, I forgot.
Hey, you know, every time you say
Yeah,
Christian
yeah,
project, I'm going to start
on a
like,
Christian
they do.
podcast.
Trust me.
Start taking money, you start charging me.
On the screen.
You said that already 7 times already.
I want people to know.
Even before you started, you was asking.
No, she before we started, you was like, so what?
Christian podcast.
Yeah, if you type Christian podcast into Spotify, you lot are on there, by the way.
Obviously.
Yeah, that's what we found out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. So you like, Christian podcast.
The maddest thing is,
So what? Because
I think
Spotify
our
told
According
us.
to them.
Because Spotify told us.
actual
That's not our
categories,
God.
like lifestyle, though.
Your lifestyle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
When you
what I'm
type
saying.
it in, it will have a list.
Because it says Bible, innit?
Yeah, my God, it says Bible.
Yeah, that's a. I mean, if I was
You think that's a dead
categorizing
giveaway?
podcasts,
Fair enough, still. No, it's good, man.
Yeah, no, welcome. Like I said, welcome.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, guys.
Get me.
So you know the twins thing? I saw you on Mace's podcast and you asked about like your last name being twins. Like, is that your actual last name? You said
Yeah, I
something
asked you
about
that
like
as
you
well.
have like bare.
Twins, my
Twins in your
dad's
family.
idea. So my dad's a twin, dad's a twin. And then he was like, Nigeria, they like shortened it. They were like, more twins when they was working, but they got it legally changed. So before that, it would have been like, I think it was like Abdul Kareem or something. My dad's side's Muslim.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so.
And now you kind of fit in Abdul Kareem still. You know.
And it'll be, I do fit it in.
You do fit it still.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Shout out
you-
Abdul Kareem.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
that's what. You know where she'll be talking as well. You know, she's
Activist, innit?
Yeah,
all black.
All black.
Welcome back to my beret, innit?
Yeah,
Like, out there.
exactly.
Yeah.
With that-
So that's a Black Panther thing. So.
Yeah, trust me. But what? So obviously, we touched on it briefly. That when people probably, I think the first time people probably would have interacted with you, depending on online, would have been you on some kind of platform speaking about like life, politics. But let's go back a bit. So, what area did you grow up in?
Camden.
Camden,
Northwest London, yeah.
For like, and have you lived there like your whole life? And
Yeah, basically, I was born in like, I think a hospital in South somewhere, like King's College.
Casey, you love South
Denmark
there,
Hill,
man.
is it Denmark Hill? King's College?
Yeah, King's College, yeah.
And then our first place that we stayed was like Finsbury Park. And then Kentish Town, but Kentish Town's in the borough of Camden.
Yeah.
But basically from since whenever nursery time, reception times, I've been in Camden.
Quick question: what kind of area is Camden? Like, what? Like, because obviously I'm not.
Yeah, it's a good question. Though,
Describe
'cause
it.
I feel like
Bare more culture.
from when I really knew about Camden,
later in life.
later on in life, felt like not a party place, but it's like
It's so funny because it's one of those areas where it's like, you know, remember when the album was like, he lives in King's Cross?
Yeah,
What
yeah,
do you mean
yeah.
you live
Yeah,
in King's
that's
Cross?
it,
Camden's
yeah,
one of
that's
those
it,
areas
yeah,
where it's
yeah.
like,
Do you
right,
really
there's
live
actual, people actually live here.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
actual
yeah,
blocks here and
yeah.
estates here and all of that.
Yeah.
The maddest thing is I've got a friend that lives there, and I feel like a younger friend, and I feel like they're so influenced by like Central C.
Look at
Is it? What colour are they?
They're Asian.
Okay.
So it makes
So is
sense.
it Camden or?
He's from Camden. Yeah.
Okay.
Just as a
Oh,
fun
just a fun fact. Okay, sorry. I just wanted to know. I just wanted to know if
He's like, I didn't know it's attractive.
Cool. No, Camden's cool, man. Like, it's changed, obviously. It's like if you live there, like, you know, like North, if you live there, you know a different part to what everyone else sees, innit? So when I lived there, my estate, there was like, I grew up with like so many different like black families, but it wasn't Nigerian heavy or anything. Like some people are used to like Jamaican heavy, Nigerian heavy. I grew up with like Gambians, people from Sierra Leone. Do you know what I mean? So we lived in an estate, but it was still a multicultural estate. But Camden itself has a lot of like Ghanaians as well, Somali. like Kosovo, like different groups of people. But there's also Camden's on a really big borough. So at the top of it, you've got like a really rich area, like the Hampstead sides and all that bits there, like the Primrose Hill, all that kind of bit. So you still got like middle class, white, affluent families. But our school, because of the catchment area, you kind of get them all randomly. So there'll be an estate that just gets there because of the catchment area. So my school comes with girls, really good school. But because we qualified, you just get a bag of like people from the estate there. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. And it can really change the trajectory of your life, just the school that you had there. And But it's just very mixed. When I was younger, there was a lot more punks. They really ran the streets. They were like, that was like punk. Them lot ran the streets. Like, it was like, raw. But then slowly with gentrification, them lot got kind of chased out and stuff. And now it's just more
so they've been chased out the punks.
When you say, you know when you say punks here, like, what would it like, as in like...
That punk rock
stereotypical,
yeah, they were like, Camden's like one of the like... Remember, Amy Winehouse also was there when I was growing up.
Do you know what's so mad?
Yeah.
The reason why I'm asking is because I drove past it the other day, and like, I can't even remember. I did try to get it out of my mind because I didn't want to see it again.
No.
But it was like, there's this like cafe or something like that. It was like, it was proper gothic. Like,
Yeah.
And then I'll just see...
trying to get out of my mind.
Because then across the road, imagine like two people like drunk here, or whatever. They all dressed in black with the spikes and all that kind of stuff here. And they're a lot older, by the way.
Yeah.
And it's like they were stumbling around like, oh, where should we go next? And they just looked across the road. And I'll see the whole thing. I'll see the whole thing play out. And then there was one new, bro. So basically, remember they've got like this kind of like life-size doll or whatever it is, like that's like obviously dressed gothically and all that kind of stuff, like moving, yeah. Then they've got an actual youth, that's come out like of the thing, and he's smoking or whatever, and he's fag break or whatever. And he's got like, you know the contacts where your eyes are white and all that kind of stuff. I'm just like, bro, like. And he kept looking at me, and I was stuck in traffic. And I was like, fam, like,
it's because you.
I kept looking at him as well.
It's because you look odd. In the area. You get where I'm coming from. It's also like, why are you like, are these the new neighbours? But yeah, no, it's very much culture. So like Camden Market, Camden Lock, that's a lot more of like the commercial, like still punk aesthetic, urban outfitters aesthetic. But obviously TikTok has now made it a foodie area. So everyone's just there from anywhere. But it's really weird because then you've got the estates that are behind all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So I've come from like, actually I really shouldn't say my estate. Let's be
real.
real.
Yeah, please.
The estate I come from, like, there's still a lot of like crime, like gun crime. It's actually a big thing in Camden, but Camden's got a lot of like drugs and gang stuff is big in Camden because of the drugs. And then you've got, obviously they built up King's Cross, but before that was all abandoned. So you don't really know people that live there. But I'm on the edge, innit? So I'm on the edge of North London. So when I grew up, I was growing up more towards like Holloway, Finsbury Park, Manor House, Tottenham. But other people in Camden, they can grow up more towards like Swiss Cottage, Northwest or West London. So Camden itself is like, it's more a central playing field. So wherever you live in Camden, you might lean towards a certain borough. Like some people then face more towards WC, some WC1 and like Holborn and that. So it's a really more, and then there's an archway and all that. It's just very it's a place you can get anywhere. You can get anywhere. So growing up is different. Depends on where you live in it, but there's a lot of different ends in there that don't make it to the mainstream, obviously. But there's also, we've got Cocoa House. So you got like the Soho House type of thing there. People, like all the famous people. You've got Dua Lipas that grew up in Camden, like Parliament Hill. Do you know what I mean? You've got bare people, Amy Winehouse. But then you've also got like...
The Roundhouse as well.
You've got Roundhouse. You've got like, there's now a box park in Camden.
Oh, is there a box park?
Yeah, there's a box park in Camden. So just bare stuff. There's just so many, there's just so many different parts to it. So yeah.
So like, besides growing up, how were you growing up and how did like your area affect you, like growing up?
Good question. I think my area just like exposed me to bare. It's so typical, right? It's just exposed me to bare different people. So I grew up. Most of the black people I knew were Muslim.
Okay.
And then
talk about the way you said it.
That's exactly what I was saying. People say that. So when I say I say Islam, innit?
Islam.
People say Islam, right? Islam, innit? So, but also my dad Muslim. So I grew up there. I grew up with a lot of African Muslim people, a lot of Somalis as well, close friends Muslim, and then in school. There was a lot of Bengali, Kosovan, mostly white, but it was a mixture. So when you discuss things, a lot of the time you're hearing about things that are going on in their country before you hear it on BBC. So again, when people later in life I talk about certain things, I'm like, but I heard it from them, man, before you all this. Again, growing up, when I was living with my dad, when you got a lot of like Muslim people or people who are not Christian, you see politics in a different way, which is more critical of Western governments naturally, not because of the religion, but because of the countries that they're talking about. So like I remember 2000, like when the 9/11 happened, and I remember I was in like primary school, and they showed us the video. Like they just said the plane had crashed, innit? But obviously people around me, like it's just a conversation that you don't know you're having, but they're like, oh, rah, like it's kind of like a response from something, and da. So you just grow up with a lot more like awareness of the world, but naturally quite critical of Britain and its role in things. Do you know what I mean? But I loved history as well. My mum's a really big history person, so at home. Not to be rude, but some people would be like, oh, when at home there was bare Nollywood on. There wasn't really Nollywood on at sometimes. It was history documentary. Like Indian documentary, something documentary happening. And my mum was born in the UK as well. So that helps with your ability to like navigate Britain as well. And then like secondary school, I was quite a bright child in it, so it wasn't hard for me. But a lot of my friends, a girls' schools, they say this, like in girls' schools or some girls' schools, because there's no men there as well, like the smartest person that you know is a woman. The fastest person you know is a woman. So you can do anything. Like there wasn't really bare boys' schools around us. We had to travel if you want to do that. So it was very much like you have a sense of self-esteem, where it's like I don't get that thing where there's bare man there and I'm like, I'm shrinking myself for what? I don't get it. Like the smartest person I know is a girl. Like I don't know. So yeah.
Till now.
Just going. Probably now.
Do you know how you said your mom? Do you understand Yoruba?
Yeah, but not like I'm not like great, but yeah.
Yeah. Did you hear a lot of Yoruba when you were younger?
My mum was born here. She speaks English, but she secondary school she had to go back to Nigeria. They put her in boarding school. Then she came back after she like qualified for being a doctor and stuff. So she talks English to us naturally, but she talks in an accent, or she'll talk pidgin or something. She's not really talk only when like you're in trouble, the typical thing. And then if you watch some Nigerian films, so it wasn't really like there was no like we were speaking it. It was like that, unless you're around certain people. And she's not like a party woman as well. She's very like to herself, like she likes Sudoku, she likes all that kind of stuff. So we weren't ever really in pool parties bare. Where you know sometimes it doesn't even your family, it might be an auntie. It wasn't really like that. So yeah.
Okay. So
were you always interested in those things? So obviously like you said that your mum was into history and stuff like that, and then the sorts of conversations you were having were about like political things. So did you lean into it like from quite young?
I think now I think about it, I think because my dad wasn't always at home, he was very like Nigerian man. So they're political. Yeah, wherever, even if they're not political, you don't even know if they're political. They're just Nigerians. So he will talk about stuff, and you know, when you don't see them often, as a child, I think you try and not please them, but you try and be like, this is what I've learned type of thing, innit? And when you're the oldest daughter, I think there's a relationship with a dad where it's like they treat you like a son. So you can sometimes have that bond where you're talking and it's just like, and I think it's really good. Obviously, have you got a child? Yeah, a child. Like, is it girl?
I got a girl and a boy.
I got a girl and a boy, yeah. So I was just saying, like, for future, and they have now men and their daughters, you learn so much from your dad because of the intellect. Like you put so much confidence in them because you can talk to them, and it's so great. Do you know what I mean? So that was that. But I think I lent into it because I was very curious about things. Now I think about it, but it was just I don't know. You never really know, but I just know from a young age. I had the language to, it wasn't the first time I ever saw anything. The first time I saw things was never in a classroom. So maybe that was an advantage. Like there was anything I've heard, you know what I mean? I've spoken about it before. I've seen it.
That's a big one.
Also, I can never be naturally racist because everyone around me was this, but also they weren't Christian black. I think it's easy when you only have like one or two intersections to be like, I'm not this, I'm not that. But then if you grow up with black Muslims, it's not just enough about being anti-racist. It's like, oh, Islamophobia. I'm aware of that as well. And I'm aware of this. I'm aware of class. I went to like a middle class school, but I was from an estate. Like everything was an intersection all the time. So it was like, right, okay, cool. But the middle class kids liked you because you were intellectual. So it was like, okay, cool. And then when in secondary school, it was that time where like, Shoreditch was coming up. Because before that, Shoreditch was not there, it was just Hackney, innit? Shoreditch started coming up, and these rich people, they would be able to have the houses to throw parties, and then it wasn't a black person to DJ. And so that's where like all the Shoreditch stuff started to pop, because there was always like a rich white people wanted to be part of a culture.
Yeah.
And the poor black people had the culture. So then you became popular there as well because like, oh yeah, so like, like.
So you're a DJ, yeah?
No, I wasn't
No,
DJ, but it was like they would be at parties or
Yeah,
like that,
of course,
or they would buy dirty Air Forces from eBay, whilst we were doing like crisp. So it was always something. It was always just a weird experience. So that's what Camden was like.
Wait, why would they buy dirty?
It's a look in it.
Yeah, because their thing is like they don't like crispy stuff. That's not their culture. Their culture is like I'll wear these shoes to Glastonbury.
Yeah,
fair enough.
So certain times I've been on the train. I remember I even took a picture of one some Air Forces, isn't it? And I captioned that. I was like, "Man, am I too materialistic, or is he like moving mad?" You know, even the way he tied the laces,
tight. There'll even be bubbles.
The funny thing is, imagine if that you saw that post. You're like, "Fam, why is
But now why am I living? So it was good, and my school was feminist school.
Explain.
So it was like feminists like founded it. We were never allowed the school uniform. We used to beg for a school uniform. We weren't allowed it.
You're your own clothes.
Yeah, I've never had a school uniform in my life.
So what's
crazy?
Why is that? What's the rationale for that?
It's like female empowerment. It's like they fought so hard for women. At the time, this was happening, but I wasn't taking it in. I just was jarred. I was like, we used to even try and do votes. That school uniform. They were saying that you cannot do a school uniform. It goes against like. They used to have one years ago, but it goes against like the feminist like values. Like they were girls in my school. The short skirt was short. You don't even know what short skirt is. Short, like everything was just like. But they were smart girls. But it was short, innit? That was always the thing.
Yeah.
Be bare smart, but dress anyhow. And our school was like, yeah, we're never doing a school uniform.
So even in terms of like your, so you know stuff like the way you do your hair, makeup and stuff like that. Were you allowed to do like kind of what you wanted to?
Yeah,
school?
remember it's also a punk area. There was girls with green hair from year whatever, girls with mascara hair and Chanel mascara. Like it wasn't no normal mascara. They'll have like Chanel No. 5 foundation, like. These are, and some of them are kids of politicians. Like it's like it's basically growing up. How things are now is what I saw when I was young. You see how I remember there was a girl on a school trip, maybe year 7. She was caught with like, let's say year 8, just for the sake of I don't know if they want to do anything, but like ecstasy stuff. At school trip, she had internal exclusion for a week. That's drugs, bro.
Ecstasy.
Just internal.
I just thought a skit was in the bag. I didn't even know what was happening. They were like, yeah, she's got And then you find out, her parent is one of the board trustees, and you're like, oh, cool.
Sure.
Yeah, serious stuff, man.
But wait, so in terms of like, just to understand like the value, did you ever dig deep and ask them like, okay, so but why is that the value? Because obviously if you go to a guy's school, if you go to a mixed school, they've all got school uniforms. So why is the school uniform thing such a big staple?
I think so. As much as I would as a young person,
yeah,
I
of
would.
Course, yeah,
I think.
Or even if you look back on it from like your purview now.
Yeah, I think it was like to them, symbolism is a big thing for a lot of movements, isn't it? So it's a fine line to try and explain to people that this was a choice. I think that's the era we're in now, is choice. People don't know there's people that will choose to dress modestly. It can never be a choice to some people. It has to be oppression. Do you get what I'm saying? So I think at the time it was very much like for young people, like you don't have to wear a short skirt. You could still wear a long skirt if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Obviously, young people at the time, skin out is the best thing, innit? Or for confidence or whatever. But I think the main thing was just like, we're never going back because like it's just like a feminine. I don't know. I remember it was just something about feminism. But as a black girl as well, I was not understanding that. There was a big feminist group in our school. I was never a part of it. I just thought it was just people just looking for something to do. You know what I mean? Because I was thinking, what are you like? What is this feminine? I agree with it, but again, as I said, the fastest person, smartest person is a woman. I don't get this stuff, but that's because maybe culturally, feminism wasn't a conversation that I was attuned to in that way. But it was interesting, but we only wanted it because we just felt like people were doing styles with their school uniform. It was nice. You can look, and obviously it's long every day and wearing your own clothes. But at the same time, I feel like they were big on expression, really big on expression. Like from a young age, you had to know how to communicate or like express, and so yeah.
Do you feel like that's shaped you a lot then, in terms of like how you? Because I feel like you're someone that I don't see you in any circle where I feel like you feel uncomfortable. Obviously, again, there's obviously internal things that or force or whatever that can happen. But like anywhere I've seen you, anywhere that we've been out and all that kind of stuff, there isn't a point where I feel like you're a fish out of water. Like I feel like you're very much, you get along with everyone. Do you feel like that? Like your upbringing in that sort of melting pot? Because again, my area south, like there's just Jamaican, Nigerian, maybe Ghanaian, and then white. Do you get what I'm trying to say? There weren't as many intersections that you've spoken about. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And to be fair, the majority of people are either Christian or just nothing.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? But then, do you feel like your melting pot, and then obviously again, how big they are on expression has made you like a very confident person, or how did that come around?
Yeah, I feel like it. I feel like secondary school, for most people, but yeah, it definitely changed my life. When I look back at it, I'm like, it's because I went to, even primary school, my primary school was like, we had this thing like every year called like exhibition. I don't know if you know it, but you had to use an egg and you had to like create a scene in something. Everyone in the whole primary school, there was a big competition. It's called egg. You have to use the egg, like you kind of like poke a hole in the top and the bottom and you blow it out and it's like eggshells and you have to create a scene. So like from a young age, like we created like a wrestling scene with egg, like 2 wrestlers made it. It's weird, like you put one egg will be one wrestler, another egg, but you create the stadium. Someone else will create like I don't know, like a film set of egg and you're like primary school age.
But they just wanted to
just create it.
Creative.
Mad weird. It was just mad weird. Like it was that. But obviously the school I went to was like a well funded as well. So it's like you're lucky. But because I had friends as well who don't come from the same estate, but not the same school. And the trajectory is so different. It's such a different life. Like from start to finish, it's such a different life. Like, so
fair enough.
You know, so from your kind of schooling and from the schooling of your friends, so not even your friends from your state, let's talk about your friends from your state or wherever, you know,
Anyway,
people from South, East, wherever, and like a school, for example, like my school was predominantly like black. Like again, in my secondary school, there was 10 white boys.
Yeah.
And I can name them all.
Yeah.
Like right now. First name and surname. So but and obviously I really enjoyed school. I thought it was great.
Time of my life.
Like time of my life. Obviously, some bad things, but some great things. You have to say that. For like it built me up, or for like it, like confidence was, you get me? Like, a lot of great things. But would you opt for like, or would you encourage, like, let's say people with kids, like young people to go to the sort of school you went to, would you, over like the other schools which you've heard of or spoke to your friends about?
It's a hard one, innit? Because I've only gone to what I've gone to, innit? And there's a lot of great people that come out of every type of school. So many more than one factor.
That
but
political answer I hear it.
No, but generally,
but it's true, I get it.
Bro, like I'm saying my school, but also there's people that come from my school that are, do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?
Amy Winehouse.
R.I.P. Amy Winehouse, man. That's a serious.
No, I'm saying, did she come from your school?
Yeah, but she's a good woman.
Exactly. You said there's some sick people that came from your school as well.
Yeah. And I said also there's other people that didn't. Now, Manuel, let out.
I don't know what
he was doing a butt thing, innit? He was like, but there's also them, man.
No.
Say less, man.
I said it after you said.
What area are you from again?
I'm from South.
Yeah, we'll list off some of your artists and we'll see like.
Yeah, no, some good artists.
That's all good.
No, say something like
that. Exactly.
There's a good artist, bro.
Good artist.
It's a good artist, isn't it?
No, it's good artist. Yeah. No, he is. No, genuinely, he's a good artist. Okay.
And so was Amy Winehouse. She was amazing.
Yeah, no, she was. He's been posting a lot of Christian lyrics as well recently.
Yeah, no, I love the movement of even like Gets coming out and talking about.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Like, listen, there's a lot of like
demons,
stuff going on
in the industry.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? And it's like,
I saw that.
Do you know what it is?
And
like,
even I think even Lowski.
Yeah.
Did you see something else on Lowski? Was like you have to pray before you leave your house. Like,
oh, I saw that. Yeah.
Do you know what it is? I can't even lie to you. Yeah. You see when it's like, let's say some, and obviously like trying to be careful with how I'm saying this, but you see when it's like certain people that have been, let's say, perpetuating what's necessarily some people say what's wrong with the world, and they come out and they almost like drop nuggets of wisdom.
God imagine.
She said, as you put it in the video, I just listen. Nah,
that's that self-education.
Shoes. Let's stop this podcast. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Oh my!
I'm still asking you a question. Would I use my school over that school? And it's looking at my school still, but still. No, go on.
So, what part of it is looking at the self-education?
Sorry. But you're happy that they're doing scripture. Long story short, that's what you're trying to say.
No, do you know what it is? Yeah, I'm just happy that they're like Do you know what I mean? Dropping like nuggets of wisdom in it. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
Especially when it comes to faith as well, and shining the light on faith.
Yeah.
And it's just mad how like we talk about, again, being the light in dark spaces and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And don't get it twisted. This is not me saying that raw.
They're gonna, yeah. Thank God,
Do you get
like
what
they're
I'm
the
saying?
savior.
Yeah, but it's just to say that it's good to see that God can use everyone and anyone. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Regardless of what our perceptions are.
But also, what I think is important is that the lesson is always the lesson. You can find out, but at 40 years old, you'll still come back and tell that. That's another part of it as well. I'm like, we all know what's going to happen. We all know, but when you're young and your thing is still soft, you think there's a different outcome. We don't know a 40, 50-year-old, not saying these are their ages, who's going to turn around and go, they don't regret the extent they took that stuff. It's not, there's no need. But when you're this age, our age, we still try and be wrong and strong and go, it's not that deep, you know, like drill doesn't impact this. When you now have kids, are you going to play drill for them and go, it's cool though, it's not going to impact you? You wouldn't. So there's also an aspect of it. It's like no one's saying run with a Daily Mail headline and go drill is the cause of youth violence. But you lot raise your kids and put drill on morning till night and tell me you feel comfortable with the imagery of that. You feel you don't like don't. So then don't push that on other people's children just because you're like that's my thing. But it takes time for us to go. I'm not personally attacked by criticisms of the culture. And it takes a maturity, and I think that's where they're at now. Where they're like, you know what? At the end of the day, man, and you get too old. You're not gonna run down every single up. At this point, you're too. Do you know what I mean?
But sorry, like, back to what I was saying.
Sorry,
back to what I was saying without you, like talking down on South London.
School,
so like,
sorry,
how
would I advise what school?
Yeah, would you?
I would say. I guess I would say yeah. I guess I would say I would advise people to be open to like a mixed school. You still have to see what type of mixed school it is, of course, and the types of mixtures. You don't know what type of mixtures you get. But at the same time, I feel like there's such a big benefit to education. Education in a holistic sense is nothing to do with what you learn in a book. People can be homeschooled. There's nothing your teacher's going to teach your child that is going to be transformative in terms of content-wise. It's the environment they create for that child to feel confident to learn. It's the support they give them. It's how they see themselves. And it's just the expression. It's a place where your child can go, right, okay, I'm in a place where it's okay to fail. It's okay to ask questions. I can also form emotional connections with other young people at that time, right? That's what school is for. And you have to think about, in that place, what I could never teach my child. Even as a woman, if I had a son, what I could never teach my child as a woman or as someone who is 20 years older than my child, forget even gender. Am I in a place where, okay, this is the safe enough environment for them to fall down, learn things, see things. You know, the best thing we can hope for is that they see all sides of the world, but they're an observer. They know the ends, but they observe the ends. They're not the ones with the first person story. They're the ones who go and tell, did you see what happened? At least, because when it's time to change your life, you can't say that you had so much skin in the game, but also you don't want them to be void of the stories. You want them to be able to cackle like everyone else and go, do you remember? But we don't need the score. We don't need the war, the scars. I don't need to come and tell you guys, remember that party when we all got stabbed? No, but we can say there was a party where someone got stabbed.
You know the ends, but
you know the ends, do you know what I mean? Like, and I think that's what a lot of us want. We don't want to say that our culture was so bad or growing up was so bad, even the scary points, because a lot of memories were born shaped there. But it wasn't. We have to remember the factors that allowed us to be separate from that was a lot of other things, which was the households that we might have come from, our own personalities, our other friends that allowed us not to get involved. Some friends, I remember when I was growing up in the estate as well, there'll be elders that would be like, to me, like, if there was any trouble, like, go the other way, go to school, don't come round here, like, don't even. But I knew other ones that would be like grooming. That like, yeah, come run this for me. But so it all depends on who you're around. Elders who will be like, I don't want to see you around here. Versus the elders that were like, oh, hold a thing for me. Do you know what I mean? So, and then Camden itself was like, I can pass big houses and dream. That's nothing you can teach me. I can go to Camden and see, like, we were going to Wagamama in like year 7. With our spare change.
What?
With our spare change.
Wagamama
they give
year
you
7?
free tea. Yeah, they give you free like green tea and then this children's menu. But the children's menu is also, I'm eating katsu. That means that when I go somewhere else, it's not the first time I've seen it. I can talk about it. I might hear it. Like, you don't know how big it can change your life just by having certain experiences in Camden. I don't know I could be a banker because in Camden I can pass a big bank and I go rah. Or people will come to school, parents will come to, that's another thing. Like parents' evenings and stuff, or like those special days where you talk about your life. People's parents will come in and go, in my brother's school, it was like his friend was the child of someone who's the Peppa Pig voice. What kind of that's a random thing.
That's crazy.
But then now someone could say, oh, I might want to be a voice actor when I'm older.
Yeah.
Simple, but it takes us 20 years to find a niche within the big industry because we thought we all wanted to be X, Y, Z. Now I realise that, there's actually...
Facts.
So it's all that stuff.
So obviously, fast forward. Let's fast forward a bit.
Yeah, so.
Uni.
Yeah.
So do you share? Do you normally share what uni you went to? Or
Yeah.
Okay,
People
cool.
ask, yeah.
Yeah. So what uni did you go to and what did you study?
I went to London School of Economics.
Okay.
And I studied economic history.
Why?
In uni, I studied economics. I loved history from the beginning of time. Remember I was in like secondary school, like year 8, year 9. Our secondary schools are 6 ones mixed. Daniel Kaluuya went there, just as name drop. And then
sick. That's like...
That's nice, isn't it? All the people from Skins, that's where they all went to our 6 ones.
Okay.
And they used to leave school to go to the audition. But they so we went to mad, isn't it? So we went to what was I saying? Yeah. So I was in Tesco, there's a Tesco opposite, and when you're on year 8 or year 9, you can go out and it's buy food. Long story short, there's these 2 white guys who are in the 6th form there, and and I walk past them and they go, Nigeria's oil, something. 2 young white guys. I'm thinking, what? Why are you talking about Nigeria? That's so scary to me. So me, I went around the sandwich bit pretending, but I was like, let me come back to that. I need to ask them. I was like, how do you know about Nigeria, or their oil? He goes, yeah, we study it right now in economics. That day I saw when I get to 6th form, I'm studying economics.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I said, when you hear someone randomly talking about your country and about oil, I was like, no, that's me. So I studied economics there, and then economics was like applied history for me. So that's when, and then when I was about to choose my unis, my teacher was like, the best school for economics at the time was at LSE. So then I just let me just put it down. But I didn't want to go there. I wanted to go to Scotland because that's where Adam Smith, he went to Glasgow Uni, random, but I got into economics bare and I was like, I want to go to where he studied. But LSE was like,
let me just do it.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I might as well.
It's not even as fantastical. That's just literally it. It was like, I might as well.
Why not?
How would you categorize what you do now? In life, how would you categorize yourself? Because like I said, as a social commentator, which I think, but do you know now on the sort of people who call themselves that, I can't call you that no more. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Because what they're commentating on is like,
pop culture.
You get me? Like pop culture. Pop culture. Do you get me?
Like this person says this.
You get me?
We're fighting.
Like the stuff we were talking about before we started recording the pod, that's like certain things, social commentators on trending topics and that, but I wouldn't call you that. Do you know what I mean? So what would you call yourself?
My sister said that you should call yourself a knowledge broker in the sense of you're just taking information and trying to make it relevant to people and distributing it to those people who might need it or don't know they need it and stuff like that. I would say just on a looser term, I create political content, so political content creation, but just political analyst, political commentator. I guess that's mainly the vibe. I don't know, I haven't found the specific word, but it's along those lines, But just not influencer, because I get that sometimes. And I'm like,
well, you influence people, though, aren't it?
Yeah. I hope. Well, we hope so, innit? Would hope so.
No.
Have you guys gone?
I mean, you're doing TED Talks and that, innit? You get so.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's I think because of the politics where I'm at now, those things are just it's nice, but it's remember I'm asking people to help stop genocides. So for me, in the grand scheme of it, it's if I wasn't on TEDx, why don't you take me in? TEDx just said, if you know what's being said. But a lot of the time, people that over familiarity, all that kind of stuff, people don't think you're saying the big things until TED said you said the big things. There's nothing I said on TEDx that I haven't been saying every day. So for me, I'm if that's the case, then it's you haven't learnt the lesson.
It kind of goes back to that what we were saying in the beginning though as well though, right? In terms of if we know the way society is set up is that in order to take something in, it needs to come from a credible source. And TEDx TED is one of those credible, do you know what I mean, sources, right? So as much as I understand what you're saying in terms of people should, but then again, do you know what it is? It's also a platform as well though. Because without those major platforms, not everyone really knows what's going on. And you know, there's this whole, so I don't know what you think about this and it'll be good to hear your thoughts on this, but even when we talk about mainstream media, a lot of people don't trust mainstream media. So they can see something and be and then again, remember, there's left and right politics as well in the media as well. So sometimes they'll say something and they've charged the headline in a certain way. Do you get what I'm trying to say? But then somewhere else you see it, and depending on which one you take in the most, you're now edging to one side of or one view of whatever's going on, sort of thing. I don't know what your views on that, but yeah, like sometimes I think it's about platform as well, though, because a lot of people might see this stuff and they just don't trust it because they don't think it's credible.
No, I hear you, but I feel like there is a difference between, is that the real reason though? It's like there's platform. This is not even to everyone else. It's also to friends, right? I could still get bigger if everyone else shared me. If you lot really push me to your friends, that's also something else. That's not necessarily waiting for TED, because TED is one platform, but there's many people with millions of followers or platforms who have never done a TEDx. So TEDx is not the make or break of any one person, right? But at the same time, it's like, even when you think about how Link Up and all that started, it didn't start with bare endorsement. It started with you believe. That you need to believe in what you believe sometimes. And if there's no conviction in what you believe, of course you're going to wait for TEDx. If I know racism is wrong, I'm not going to wait for TEDx to platform this person who's saying thing is wrong. So you have to admit sometimes that people don't know what they believe enough to even endorse you. Do you get what I'm saying? It's not like, if there's a difference if you don't believe what I'm saying and you don't like me, cool. But if you're disengaged from politics in general, that's a different conversation to be had. And sometimes it's like, you're waiting for the affiliation with TED to come and green light me, but that doesn't even mean you took me in. That just means you want to be seen to like the content that is going up. I see people that comment on things when it's like, oh, well done for TEDx, cool, but when I posted the normal thing, you didn't reshare that video.
Saying the same thing.
But when it was TEDx, it's like almost like when you post TEDx, it's like you're also virtual signaling to other people that you know someone who does that, and now this is your crowd. You know, people, you know, naturally, not a critique, but that's naturally. So of course, when it comes to things like politics or something moral or important, you shouldn't subject that to the same mechanisms you subject pop culture to. Pop culture can be frivolous and be like, I'm just liking, posting. But for example, if it was faith, would you resort to the same patterns of using social media that you would faith? You shouldn't really. You shouldn't really be like, oh yeah, obviously it's social media and it's not the beginning and end of faith. But do you know what I mean? You wouldn't just be like, yeah, I don't know, man, I just saw it. It requires more action. It requires you to make more time for it and to sit and meditate on it and do things versus that. And for me, politics is similar in that sense, where the world we're living in, it's not one of those ones where people should be like, you know, like so unsure about what it is and our age. But that's me.
No, that's a fair point. I think, you know what, there's certain things that you say that's like we can, like, it's easily agreeable. And I guess sometimes it's the way that it comes across here. It's like, this is really strong, for example, But then, I guess, when you said the virtual signaling, for example, that, someone that does this, What if it's someone wants to support you, but it's like, this or that, like, I don't know if I can repost this one.
Yeah.
Do you get what I say? Because even sometimes it's like, I've got an example, I'm not going to go into it any deeper, but there is, like, I know someone that, for example, there was something that we posted or whatever, they're part of it as well, but they're not going to post that just because of what that means, basically. And essentially they support us and all that kind of stuff, but just because of how strong this particular thing was, they just didn't repost that one. And they were like to me, oh fam, X, Y, Z. When I spoke to them in person, sort of thing.
Okay. Do you
get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, of course.
But then they were posting everything with BT and all that rubbish. Sorry, not rubbish. Sorry. But you know what I mean?
Everything that feels inconsequential.
It's like, exactly.
Yeah.
Do you get?
Yeah. That's most of my story. Like, in social media, you can tell the things that are low stakes, people can repost. Which is fine, natural. No one's saying it's not natural, but like, if you understand the urgency of what's going on, change is not going to change. I just put myself in a position of, like, let's say 1990s, 1980s, apartheid South Africa, 1960s America, civil rights era, even neocolonialism, even the decolonization period of 60s Africa, we all talk about, like, all the freedom fighters and all that stuff that we grew up on going, or alongside Malcolm X, we were like, We would not be the people that were on those marches. The sound marches.
100%. I say this all the time.
We would not be the people that's even saying, go do strikes. We're not the ones that are saying, go and just challenge the system. We are the ones in the history books that let it happen. Facts. We are the ones. And for me, it's very much like, that's so weird. But on the Black History Month, people use it as pride. Like, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. Going further back, Jesus Christ himself. This is not new. So for me, I'm always like, I can't control atheists and everything like that on that way. I can't engage with them on a spiritual level. But Christians, one of the reasons why I'm so disappointed, and one of the biggest disappointments is the fact that your religion is based on social justice. Someone came down to change the ways prior. right? A lot of the stories are about discrimination, him even siding with people that he shouldn't have sided with. That these are stories, right? That he's telling you. But we take the stories to talk about individual challenges that we have to do with work, to do with things that the man who's atheist goes through and overcomes. We're asking him for the type of bread that people who don't believe in God have and want. You're coveting things that people that non-believers want. And you're using, and that's the main use of that scripture. And even though it feels great, because like, yeah, if you're overcoming trouble or this, we use it for self-discipline. And we say, oh yeah, but you're telling me a book that was written about Jesus, the miracles he performed was nothing to do with the things that you're going to church for. Which no one says you should not go for church for those reasons, of course. But I'm saying, then that's why I'm like, then the fear of God for me, I'm like, I'm confused because I think it's even in Matthew where it was like he was saying, obviously the goats and the sheep, and I said it on Charlie's podcast where it's like, God. Someone said to him, God, like, when did you ask for food? When did you ask for shelter? And I didn't give it to you. And he was like, when there was a widow, all these people, you didn't give it to them. So the least you did for those people is what you did for me. He wouldn't mention that in the Bible if he's saying that, listen, there's a consequence because your life might never mean that you face those difficulties. Doesn't mean your challenge is based on what you face alone. It's also so for me, I'm like on a level because I'm like, there's no way I'm going to go to heaven. And when there was a genocide in my life, I was like, it's cool. And God's like, yeah, it's cool. Impossible.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I feel you on that.
What would you say that people should do, like kind of past just knowing about these things, innit? So you know, like obviously like talking about like reposting when you're bringing awareness to stuff and talking about things.
Yeah.
Past like just watching it and like seeing, all right, cool, this thing is going on, this issue is going on. What can we actually like do in it? And I remember like
we'll do
around we'll do differently. You know, I remember around the time of the NSARS and then the George Floyd murder that happened. Yeah. So one of the things that me personally I did that I went to like the protests and stuff like that, innit? But then having gone to like those protests, like it's kind of like we go there because we wanna like feel as though we're doing something in it. Like obviously reposting and stuff like that's part of it. And then I guess like going out and doing is like another sort of step in it. But whilst going out there, it just seemed as if we were all kind of just out there because we feel like we probably
like
should be out there kind of thing in it. And then like not even being seen to be doing something, but like actively like going and doing something in it. But having gone there and having obviously like reposted and stuff like that, like I don't like what do we do past those sorts of things? Like what would you say that people should kind of do in it?
When people ask this, I'm always like, is it a genuine not saying your question, but is it a genuine question that you thought about and you've rustled your head to the point where
I kind of need this. I knew that was going to be asked.
No, but do you know why? Because I'm like, if I do that for you, again, you haven't learnt nothing. Because the thing is that I get what you're saying though, is there actual genuine things, but also it's like any other issue you had in your life, did you approach it like that? And go, what? Like you have to think about it as like, there's an injustice, right? There's performative protesting, we get it, and then there's sharing post. Between us as adults, we can't pinpoint other things that we could do, then we're in trouble. If you can't think about actually, okay, I've posted, cool. Maybe have I posted something? No, cool. Have I gone to donate to something? No. Have I gone to even mentor a young black person just to make sure that's one person I can say is less likely to go to the roads? No. Have I gone to church and even said, you know what, let me hold a space or a forum that discusses this particularly? No. Have I gone to work and even advocated and said, the money that goes here, can we try and do a pot here? These are things that even outside of whatever cause you like are being done. So it's always like, so my issue is always that it's the lack of conviction. You can't do that if you're not convicted in the fact that this injustice shouldn't happen. That's why it's hard. That's all it is. If you genuinely feel like this is wrong, trust me. And it's not like you don't think it's wrong. It's also, remember, there's a normalization of black suffering. It can't be every single time a black person is suffering that it's gonna make us move. That's the problem. But if you're convicted in like, yo, then it'll move you. So if you're not convicted, I think it goes back to going, why am I so kind of desensitized to this? Like, why, as an individual, but even as a Christian, like, I don't know if you can mention like the genocide here or whatever, but just on a loose thing, it's like...
Listen, say what you need to say.
So for me, I get the whole, not everyone's a scholar, cool, but my thing is that, okay, anyone who's read the Bible, reads the Bible, how many times does Jerusalem come up? At least that area. The fact that there's bombs that's even touching that area, Christians should even say something. To even be like, hold on. Just on that, I don't care who started it, but beloved, this is the area. There's Nazareth, Bethlehem that you are reading that we're quoting all the time. There's bombs that's even circulating a place there. Jesus Christ himself depending on where you believe, is a descendant of that area. Technically, modern day Palestine. He was persecuted. He had to go through checkpoints. His family had to go through checkpoints even to get to where they were going to give birth to him, right? And you're telling me that area you don't care. This is why the Christian faith people don't understand the usefulness. Because you think you can go to another... This is why it's even fighting. This is why people are getting involved, because it's a holy land. The world's holy land. And Christians are not saying... Christians could end the genocide, you know. If Christians said, I'm weighing in on a religious level and on a historical thing, don't touch this area. So that's what I'm saying. It's ridiculous, because Jerusalem... We were saying, go to church, trust me. The next 2 church sessions, there'll be the word Jerusalem that's on the screen. And we're going to be like, are we actually taking a piss? We're talking about Jerusalem. Even the word Israel. You don't even want to go and know. I prefer the ones like even Zionists that say, I'm pro what's going on. At least know that place meant something to you, even if you're on the wrong side. Everyone here is like, you're reading the Bible, the word Jerusalem, but there's bombs right there. And you're telling me you're Christian. We're all having a laugh. But the next time you'll tell me that you have a testimony at work, you think God gave you that job. Something that if you just practice for the interview, you'll get. You're telling me you want to assign that to God, which is great. But let's not acting like atheists are not going to get that job because of that. Do you know what I mean? Everyone has different situations, of course, and you know when it's a blessing. But at the same time, that's why I'm like, it's bizarre.
Yeah. Do you know what I was going to say? I think it's I think one of the things that I'm taking away from this, right, is, and I feel like people should take away from this, is the idea of or the fact that they're desensitized to certain things. Because I can easily see how someone who is doing a lot to try and change certain things and social injustice in their local spheres, but then things on that much more like global and national level, they're less aware of all that kind of stuff as well, and through various factors. Like, we don't need to go into nuances, but I think in terms of so for people who so not necessarily what can they do? That's not what I'm asking, right? Because I think, again, similar to what you said already, I feel like everyone should have, and it's all personal to everyone. So, for example, I might be doing something with work and I'm trying to get young people in through a certain way from underprivileged backgrounds and all that kind of stuff. I've done that off my own back. I haven't done it because someone told me to do it. Yes, sometimes you see stuff happen somewhere else and you take the example. But then in terms of where can we go, right? And for example, don't get twisted. There isn't a need for you to be I guess, let me see how I'm trying to frame this here. But basically, essentially, the question is where can we go that we trust? All right, cool. When they tell us this is what's going on, we know, all right, cool. This is really what's going on. So, and I'll give you an example, right? When the whole COVID situation was going on and they started talking about how there was mass deaths in Brazil and all that kind of stuff because of this vaccination and all that kind of stuff. Again, I don't know what the truth is and what the truth wasn't. But then there's all of these videos debunking what's going on, saying that none of this actually happened. Someone came out the other day talking about, listen, he knew that the whole mainstream media stuff was fake and XYZ because when they reported something, a mission that he was part of as part of the army that happened over 10 years ago, they've literally broadcasted it like it was a current mission, video footage, everything, all that kind of stuff. They broadcasted it like it was currently going on. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So there's a real deep
misinformation.
Yeah, and mistrust. They don't trust.
How do we know what to
I'm trying to say in the media and what the media says, and because of that desensitizes people as well. Because it's if you see something that you feel these lot are gassing that, so it's just. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
No. And when I say this, I'm saying it as it's perfectly normal why people are desensitized. I'm not taking that away. Life is hard, and we're an ethnic minority as well. This is not us having the luxury of stars and moons in our eyes every day, and then we have even us raising our families as a political thing in this country. It's not a joke. What I would say is, yes, there's misinformation. The news has a certain function, which is to present it in a certain way, in a certain size, but there's also history books. So it's what I do is go, for example, I'm more lean towards the Al Jazeera types, But at the same time, on certain topics, Al Jazeera will also have blind spots when it's time to critique maybe the Qatari government, for example, who funds them, right? BBC for me is also they will label things mad, but I know it's mad, so I can watch it because I know that it's bias. So if I watch something and go something there was a war, I know it's a genocide. So you calling it war doesn't affect me, but I know that it's a bias when I read it. But I'm at a place where I have the language or conversational style where I can just take the bits that I can consider the gist of the matter. The gist is, this happened yesterday. I'm not trying to say you perpetrated or you didn't perpetrate it, but now I can go back and read Because don't get me wrong, history, but you need to want more than once. It's slow news is different to the modern day. Modern day is like you want to watch something and get everything. This is like years and years and years and years of things that you need to read to even get your perspective on it. Let alone my perspective. I'm saying it's a genocide. For all you know, you might come and go, I've read everything and I don't think it's a genocide. Perfectly fine. But also, do you have the appetite to go and read it? There's authors, journalists who have no political leanings. I just documented it for what it was. Read that book to add to the layer. So when you do see BBC, you can go, BBC are always going to call. It's like how we got to the place of knife crime. How we got to the place of when they're going to report knife crime, we know what bits are, it's a bit romanticized. But I get the gist that one person died. I get the gist that a young black boy was killed by a knife. But if they come and say gang member, that bit's going to be like, maybe. You know what I mean? Or you're going to like, maybe, or it's going to say,
for sure.
But I'm in a place where I'm confident enough to know this is what you normally produce. So that's all I can really say is that try and have one or two places, but see news more as a trying to build up your like information literacy. It's just the building on top of what has come, not one thing doing that. And that helps because, as I said, I studied economic history. So like, I did when the genocide came, there's also a bank of knowledge that I'm able to lean on at least. And there's some things I won't have things to lean on, but you develop a style of interrogation that if something new comes up, I'm like, all right, cool. These are the two players. Let me go read something. All right, cool. This is how it goes. Let me see how it pans out. I can also ask maybe some people who are descendants. Let me just kind of see. Then you start going, But more time, the patterns are the same. It's imperialism. It's the same types of countries wanting land, wanting to dehumanize people, using our ignorance to make injustice persist. It's the same tactic forever. It's not a new thing. The players are different, but the tactics are the same. And that's what you need to know. As long as Israel is an agent of Western imperialism in the Middle East, the agenda can only be one thing. You're an extension of the US foreign policy. There's no way one country that came there 60 years ago can be solely funded on American dollars. And you're there, one country in a whole of the Middle East, and you're patenting everything. How can that happen? Do you know how many hostages there's been throughout the world? There was a hostage situation all over. Have you seen any other country go and bomb a whole country because of hostage? No one's saying there's no hostages, but what country has been allowed to do that? Ukraine and Russia are fighting. If Russia bombed hospitals in Ukraine, there's no time. Look at can you see that? On the level of not even being biased now, just going, you demonize Putin, rightly, wrongfully, for something that Netanyahu has done 50 times over. There's no agenda there. As people, let's just wake up. No one's even on that level. And I'm a black woman. I have no allegiance to any of these people. But beloved, we are descendants of genocide. We went through a transatlantic slave trade. We went to colonialism. We are products of people who have been removed their histories. You're putting false lines in the ground. We're all speaking different languages when we're one black people or different tribes. We are descendants of genocide. We should be the first. That's why when South Africa brought Israel to the ICC, it was historical. You know why? That country is known for apartheid. If apartheid happens again, it has to be South Africa because you have to tell us that you remembered. So that's why for me, it's like black people, even though it looks like it's not us, they use that as a litmus test. So when they come now to us and they do Sudan, Free Sudan and Congo, you think they're going to pick it up? What do you think is going to happen? You told them that they can have a genocide last in front of our eyes and us go, we don't know what's going on for 2 years as adults. When Nigeria because Nigeria ain't got that long left, guys. The population of Nigeria, I think in 2050 is supposed to be more than the whole of Europe. They're beheading Christians in Nigeria all over the gaff. Nigeria ain't got long left, guys. This whole thing about corruption is that 80% of Nigeria is in poverty. And you're the second economy in Nigeria in Africa. It's unsustainable. And when that happens to Nigeria, remember Nigerians, we've got the luxury of being after Biafra. Biafra scarred Nigeria for time. Ask Nigerians there, we will do anything but fight. But Nigeria's got the same makeup as Iraq. We just don't fight like them, man. We don't believe in anything enough. Do you know what I mean? Biafra scarred us. But when it's time to come, everyone will have to know that, cool. And then when we become children of people who are like, we're now going, please, free Nigeria, then we'll all realise how devastating ignorance is.
It's kind of like,
We'll realise how when your boys are not posting, just like the Congolese, I don't know how the Congolese are looking at us. Because I'm like, bro, you got a genocide and you're surrounded by us a lot. And we're just like, When it happens to us, everyone will know. And we got the luxury of having a big diaspora. So maybe.
To be fair, it's a frustration that's shared a lot in terms of like our generation now, innit? And it's one of the things that like we've always said as well, innit? In terms of like when you talk about Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and all that kind of stuff, And then someone says Barack Obama in the same sentence. It's like it's not the same.
Yeah.
Like, and we're not those people anymore, like you said, yeah. And I feel like, but this does bring me back to the question that Iman was asking about what can people do. And the reason why I say this, yeah, not on a personal level, because this is something that needs to happen collectively. Because again, if I go away and start working in my silo and I start doing stuff like all the stuff with work and all that kind of stuff, yes, fair enough, I'm affecting my local sphere. But again, it's a drop in the ocean. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And like, and do you know what? Educate me here, because it might not be a drop in the ocean. It might be what's required and someone will see that example next time and then boom, boom, boom. But I know a lot of people would have a same sort of frame of mind as me in terms of, yeah, but if I'm doing this, I'm still part of the problem because I'm only affecting people locally. And even if that, do you know what I mean? Like, because my impact might not be that great, my influence might not be that great. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So it would be good to have certain things where it's like, do you know what? People, when you hear, this is where you can go for updates. When this next thing happens, this is what you can do. Oh, fair enough, people do a lot of boycotting and all that kind of stuff. And even with that, if I'm being real with you, the boycotting thing, in some instances, really annoys me because it's just so half-assed, like half-hearted and half-assed. That sort of thing. That's why I say half-assed. but it's like, do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, it's almost like, with a lot of these things, the reason why the protests are effective is because it's a collection of people. Do you know what I mean? It makes it's a disruption. Do you get what I'm saying? Someone's going to see this and it's going to disrupt something and someone's going to have to do something about it. Do you get what I'm trying to say? But then all of these other little things, yes, we do it because we care, about the social injustice. But then how can we link up is the point. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, where do people go for, all right, cool, we want to make a collective sound or noise or disruption about this thing. Where do we go to understand where these things are happening?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. And I think the movement is not perfect yet in that way. And I think that's where even those of us who are calling for stuff, it's like, okay, cool, how can we make it easy for people as well? I think following certain pages that do this allows it to be it takes less effort for you to kind of find them because you're following them. It's like, at least I'm more likely to see that as even people that follow like Jeremy Corbyn. Okay. That man will at least show you the main protest that he's going to. You're going to have to go to all, but you know that at least it will come up on my timeline, right? I would say also follow, for me anyway, like follow like a news thing, even if it is BBC or whatever it is, but like, not promoting BBC, but like Al Jazeera or whatever it is. Again, it's not an endorsement of them. It's just when you need to know certain information, at least you know the breaking news that week, right? I would also say what you're doing in isolation of people, as you said, it's aggregate. There's so many isolation things that are happening, but at the same time, I think it's like where you can. Remember, I'm not asking anyone to go to Gaza Strip and now fight as a soldier. That's not going to change the war, and it's just done in vain. What I am saying is that when there is a post about it, when there is an event about it, how can you amplify that? We're all on social media for, even if it's an hour. You're telling me that because you give back to the boys in the ends, that when you're on TikTok, you can't repost something about it. Let's not act like it's the same effort we're asking. This is an information war with Gaza. It's an information war. All we can do as citizens is say, yo, guys, whatever happens now, we need to make sure that the kids that come after us know that it was a genocide. That's the best I can do is say that whatever they say now, it was a genocide, and you can't rewrite history. But with our absence, when they look for our Instagram, it's gonna be like AI already now. If you type it in, what's happening? It's a collection of everything that's on the internet. They will aggregate that and to say that, oh, there wasn't a genocide, there was a debate. We need to make it so that the same way they're reading it back how we read it about the 60s, they're reading it now. So I would just say repost things that are important. Try. If one of every 10 posts you have is something that can help people, remember, you can do the same posts without a public profile. If you want a public profile, you're telling us that you want to put stuff into the internet. All of us can have private pages, you know, and no one can tell you anything about that. Because if it's a private page, then whatever I post there, even if I'm skin out, I'm not publicizing. The moment I say anyone can watch, you can't have all the views and all the clout and no responsibility. That's the only thing I don't like. Everyone wants the clout, everyone wants the name, but you don't want the sweat, blood, and sacrifices of having that. And that's where we're at as a society. But there are other platforms, big platforms that I always critique. Like, you lot love Black joy and you love the idea of Black joy being resilience, and it is, but don't cosplay as people who are only doing this because you're trying to overcome. No, you're not. You've got a platform here, which is great, but you want to play Congolese music. You want to play bashment. When there's hurricanes, not £1 you want to raise. You want to take us to more, but not £1 you want to raise for hurricane, but you'll see the lyrics. It's a mad thing. It's actually like, and even in history, this is what we were always doing. That's what people are not understanding. The Black Panthers, everyone else, they were the ones who were even opening up hospitals, feeding kids. They didn't have two heads.
Yeah.
They didn't have two heads. And what they decided to do is that if it doesn't fit your work regime, the sacrifices, maybe my work is getting in the way of my activism.
Yeah, bigger questions.
Because when you die, God's not going to go, oh, but yeah, sorry, I know you had a 9 to 5, so I know you couldn't really... give on to Caesar what is Caesar's, give on to God what is God's. At the end of the day, let's not, because once this time ends, when he plays, if obviously it's all romantic, if they play back this film, they're going to like, you had bare time. But you said to yourself, it was more important for you to fulfill your dream that you had in year 7 about being a millionaire before you were 40 than it was to do that. And it's all fun and games in your life. But when that judgment day comes closer, everyone's going to start panicking again and be like, oh yeah, you know what I mean? Like, no. So my thing is that all this stuff that we want to do is all fake. It's not real. These are ambitions of the heart. These are man's ambitions, which is lovely. We need it. Sometimes it's purpose. But it doesn't replace the need for us to focus on that. Like, so I just say like, yeah, just try and make, you have to make it a priority in certain ways, in certain aspects of your life. And go, this is a representation of who I am versus what I can do. It's not what you can do for the man them in the ends. We are the man them in the ends. I'm not giving back, bro.
Yeah.
This is my family. You don't say you give money to your family, you're giving back to your family. You lot are my brothers.
Yeah.
It's not a thing. If I didn't see as my brothers, then it's a favor.
And there's that responsibility. Do you know what I mean? So I think did I hear something? Sorry, I thought I heard the beep. But yeah, there's that responsibility. Do you get me? To actively, like you said about the man in the end, like the wars that's going on, the genocide, it can't be a second thought, which I guess it has been for a lot of people. And again, social media is a drug, isn't it? So it's easy to use social media to ignore what's happening and to live in your own bubble, to do what we want. I remember shout one of my boys who shouted me on Instagram. I reposted the post. And he asked, bro, how do I talk to my pastors about what's happening in Israel and Palestine? Like, how do I have this conversation? And I was like, listen, that's a great question. I don't know your pastors. Like, I don't know how they'll react to things, but here is what you can try. And kind of, I sent him a YouTube channel of a Christian guy who breaks down stuff really well, innit? Because there's a lot of, I think, misinformation that certain sides of the faith like push about what's happening. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
that Israel is the Israel in the Bible.
Do you get what I'm trying to say?
That's the main issue.
That's the main issue. So it's like
yeah.
So people are a bit hesitant to talk. But I was like, yeah, take that. I remember in church, like this was a while back when the whole Black Lives George Floyd happened, and they didn't want to really talk about it. Do you know what I mean? A couple of people got together and said, listen, you have to talk about this. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's why I feel like sometimes, it's not the issue isn't, because I think sometimes it's okay, because if we should speak about anything in a black church, it should be what's happening to black people. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, but they're not. And it has nothing, I don't think, against what is happening, but I think it's how people translate it to, like, how does it link to what I'm talking about here? Do you get me? When it comes to faith.
Just adding on that, quickly, I think, do you know what? I think this is a conversation that can be very intricate, and I'm not the one for over nuancing things, but I feel like even when it comes to that, for example, there was a lot around the Black Lives Matter movement in terms of the origins of it, in terms of the organisation, in terms of what they actually believed in, dismantling homes, the traditional homes, boom, boom, boom. That a lot of Christians did not agree with.
Yeah.
So because of that, bare people were like, listen, yes, like injustice, that side, Black Lives Matter. When it comes to saying those words, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, but I think that's fine, isn't it? Because that Black Lives Matter movement is quite specific. Whereas what's actually happening, because you just talk about, like I said, injustice, isn't it? You talk about what's actually like. I find it kind of weird at times, and again, this is a whole separate conversation. But as in, we can't talk about this. This thing can't be happening Monday to Saturday, and there's no mention, we ignore it on Sunday.
Yeah, of course.
Do you get me? Because we're experiencing this, isn't it? It's happening. And again, it's happening to us currently, to your children, to your family, to your friends. But obviously, the wider conversation, because of the way that, especially the way, like, I know the older AFs, the way they respond to racism is different. Do you know what I mean? The way they see certain things, they see racism as like, that's not too bad. Do you get me? I remember one time I was talking to one older, like, Af guy, told him something that happened. He said, was that it? Like, back in my day, this happened to us, innit? So his thing was kind of like you don't need to pipe up about that.
But this is the bigger conversation, because this is what I'm saying as well, in terms of feeling equipped to have a certain conversation. So certain people aren't going to have the conversation because, listen, you lot are going to put it on their head, have this conversation, say this on the pulpit, all that kind of stuff. they're gonna tell you what they really believe in, and it is social justice, to a certain degree, and it is sort of cool, the oppressed, the needy, like we all know, do you get what I'm trying to say? Yeah, but then there is their side of things that might be it might be clothed in resilience or whatever, or how they see things in X, Y, Z, and boom, boom, boom. So it kind of dumbs down what it is, and basically now they've got to deal with a whole nother backlash of X, Y, Z, and boom, boom, boom. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So I feel like when these situations arise, it's it should be based on a pure level, kind of what you were saying before about cool, what you know is that listen, someone's died, or these people have died, or boom, boom, boom. That's bad. Do you know what I mean? Talk about that. Do you know what I'm trying to say? I feel like when it comes to all of these, the reason why sometimes the church doesn't always, even though I'm not saying historically it hasn't, the reason why the church doesn't always get involved in politics, and sometimes why I understand, is because number one, are you equipped to talk about it properly? X, Y, Z, boom, 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 But then also number two, I feel like sometimes, again, this trust thing I think is a big thing, and I'm not trying to over amplify that, but I'm just trying to say that, listen, I think there's a lot more that goes into these conversations just about what people actually do. Of course. And I feel like it's tough sometimes, and don't get twisted, what I agree with and what I like about what you said, is that if you've got a certain platform, and your platform, you promote Black joy, all that kind of stuff, boom, boom, boom. When these things are going on, do something more than just reposting, because you've got a big platform and you've got the means to do something more than that. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Same way in the church, if you can, all right, cool, you got this fund, boom, boom, boom. Okay, listen, guys, let's donate to this cause, boom, 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 X, Y, Z. You've got the means to do it, because you've got a platform where there's a lot of people tuned in, logged in, all that kind of stuff, and they can do something. But then also, I feel like for the people who are then going to donate and all that kind of stuff, it's not that, cool, I've donated my £10 and then that's it, man's done. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Amplify. Obviously, when you see things reposted, this, that, and the other. All of that being said, there is always going to be more that can be done.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Of course.
Always.
And it's there is no start or end point, is the point.
Yeah.
But then also in that,
do something,
do you get what I'm trying to say? Do something. But also in that as well, it's I don't know, man. It's just how do we get people to that place where it's kind of and it's the whole getting over the being desensitized to it.
Yeah,
all that
it's
kind
the
of stuff.
caring, man. And I think that's one of the big things I'm taking away.
People do care though.
No, but it's the extent. Listen, I'm talking to myself, innit? So this is not even to anyone. This is to me. Because
I hear it.
if I saw something that I really didn't like, there wouldn't be an inaction to it. Do you know what I mean? Even if the action is small, there wouldn't be inaction. I wouldn't just simply let it be. Do you know what I mean?
It on his head.
There'll be something.
Spin it on his head. Your father, you've got a child to pick up.
Yeah.
They've gone somewhere in the danger area or whatever it is, but on your way there, you've seen something going on and all that kind of stuff. If you're late, you're do you get what are you going to prioritize?
No, but you know what it is though.
And I get what you're saying, but this is what I was saying about time people have, right? If you're giving back and you're running a football club for kids in the ends, right?
Okay.
There's no way you're telling me that now stops you from reposting a post saying
of course.
Free Gaza. And I'm saying we have to be realistic, because sometimes we're naturally going to try and find a really big barrier to kind of almost justify why we haven't been doing things, which I get, which is natural. But realistically, there always has to be humility to this and going, it's okay to say that there was a paralysis. There's a paralysis that doesn't need to actually be very rational, but it paralyzed us. And it's natural. Capitalism can paralyze you. Being anxious can paralyze you. It doesn't mean that the one thing you now need to do, which is to repost, take seconds from your thing, that no one in Gaza has ever asked us to go and stand there and stand on the ground. They've only asked us to make sure that they're aware. We have a government that is has a UN veto. We are not any citizens of any world. We're not asking Nigerians to do this who are in Nigeria. We have a government that sits at a UN veto, meaning if there's wars, international wars, our government can veto. We are not the citizens that everyone else is. There are five nations that can say we can go to a veto. We're not anyone. So when it's time to vote, unfortunately, we have to be more aware than most citizens, because why? Our governments can change the course of history, which we have. This is what I'm trying to say. We're not just any country. We're not asking Ghana, go and fight. No, because why? It's us. The sun never set on the English Empire, meaning that they enslaved a third of the world, meaning that by default, a third of the world speaks English. The fact that us lot can be on podcasts, right, and have our name there, not because I'm smarter than anyone else, I'm communicating in English. There are kids smarter than me that can't speak English that will never get anywhere on a podcast. Why? Because they're not speaking to an English-speaking nation. It's these little things that you have to look at. It's just by chance that we're here. But heavy is the head that wears the crown. So if you're going to live the loveliness of living in a country where NEPA doesn't go, unfortunately, that also comes to the idea that use your voice. The reason why you think NSARS ended because them lot protest in Nigeria, in Lekki. You think they haven't been killing people since, but Nigeria doesn't like embarrassment. So when we came to London and all these other cities, and we said, "Yo, listen, wake up," and our artists started to say, "Listen, wake up." Embarrassment made them do that. Let's not pretend. Yeah. This is how fickle everything is. This is what it's PR. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes it's even just go to the protest and say it, just so when it counts. It just says, that's what, do you know what I mean? So for me, it's more like, it's a false sense of like, what we're struggling with. It's not really that big. Just repost. I was even going to say, just lastly, like, I was going to a church and I stopped going to a church, innit? Because I think at the time it was like, you know what? As you said, like, when there's a genocide going on here, you're not speaking about it, but you will find time to talk about homophobia if you needed to. Even if it's not in the news, you'll find it's comfortable. It's an easy enemy. Top 10 issues you're facing, nothing to do with gay people, you know? Because what destroys the black family is poverty. What destroys the black family can be over-policing of black areas, can be mass incarceration. These demographics have nothing to do with that, you know? And guess what? Even if what they're doing is wrong, there's no intervention you can do. They'll still have to face God, right? But the biggest issues facing us, we never challenge.
So in that scenario, so was there any like
conversation?
Yeah, with the pastor about, cool, do you know what? I see you're not talking about this. Because obviously, don't get twisted, it's not an indictment at all.
Yeah.
It's just saying that, obviously now you've moved on from that church here, but then he's still unawares.
No, I don't think
Or she.
Yeah, no, and there was always a point of like, should I raise it and stuff like that, which I don't mind saying I didn't raise it. I don't have that issue. But to say you're a pastor of a religion and you're unaware, you can't. You're mad. Because to say you're a pastor, right? This is not like you're head of children's church. You're a pastor. You're speaking about Israel, Jerusalem. As an adult as well, you know there's a genocide. What exactly am I asking you to say? I can say that you didn't bring it up and people want to know about, of course, that's fine. And I can live with the fact I didn't do that. 100%. Because also, like, it's also a violence on other people. I can't just, you have to carry it on your head as well and come to a new church or sometimes we're also looking for a place also to be like, actually, this stuff is going on. I'm already doing so much online. I'm doing so much with this all the time. To come to a place of people that should know. It's painful because you're like, bro, it doesn't even matter what side you're on. These are people dying. I'm going to a pastor who, by the fact that you're a pastor, you're telling me you don't know the history of Israel. Yeah. For me, that's already a sign. There's just no way. There's no version of this. It's like me being a teacher in school and teaching maths and just not doing. And then someone going, didn't you raise it? Sorry, you've created your syllabus. Clearly, I can say to you, I want you to learn more of this. But there's nothing about you don't know. And if you didn't think to say it, then cool. But also, if I didn't, the whole congregation, I was the only one that was, because even if I didn't raise it, no one else raised it then. Is that what we're saying? Then people must have raised it. And if people didn't raise it, then why am I in a church where no one knows to raise it? It's weird.
But this is it though. So
it's weird.
And this is the whole thing I'm trying to tackle here, because I feel like the desensitization thing is a very big thing here. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And I feel like, again, what happens as well is like when these things first come out and it has like a lot of media attention, everyone's on it, everyone's reposting, then it dies down after a bit. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And then everyone goes back to normal. So even in terms of like keeping it at the forefront of people's minds, that takes some work. It's not do you know what? Like, without getting too deep into it, but do you know, even when you think about it from a biblical perspective, yes, it's about social justice. When you talk about men of God and all that kind of stuff and who they should be in the office and all that kind of stuff, it almost walks through a hierarchy, and it talks about sorting out themselves first, sorting out their family, sorting out their it says something, and then it says the world, sort of thing. I can't remember what the third thing is. Just skipped my mind. But 1 Timothy 3, like 1-13 or something like that. It talks about it, And it's like, and don't get twisted, it's not subtracting from social justice. Speaking out on social injustice, it's not subtracting from that at all. But all it's saying is that there is a plethora of things that would mean that people sometimes do need that encouragement or do need someone who feels strongly about that to make it very plain in terms of how important certain things are. Yes, in the ideal world, everyone will be aware already of how important these things are. But sometimes, listen, I can't lie. That's why it takes people like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and all of these other activists that we've heard of. It takes the people like you're speaking about from suffragettes in terms of Emily Pankhurst and all that kind of stuff. Like, it takes certain people sometimes to raise awareness. Like, so certain people have that grace and certain people are called to those offices because of this. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And I feel like that's something we should if anything, that's kind of a thing that we need to amplify as well in terms of how we then make others aware. And that's the kind of like, I think that for me anyway, that's one of my key takeaways. And I think that's what I'm trying to get to a solution or an idea of how we can solution this in terms of how do we get to a point where people are aware not only of the situation and the history of Israel and all that kind of stuff, but they are aware of, now we need to talk about this actually. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Because trust me, it's not on the forefront of people's minds. And I think that's the issue that we're saying
100%. And
exists.
this is, I think I was speaking to Brett about this before, but like if you take a different scenario, let's say, because sometimes Christians don't have a self-awareness of what it looks like in a different religion. If I was Muslim, the genocide is going on, your religion by default propels you into that conversation.
Yeah.
Christians, what are you looking for? Because my thing is that do you know what I mean? It's like, you're waiting for this. We already know murder is wrong. Where do we need to go from here, right? Murder is wrong. So that's already, it's not like to say murder is wrong, death is wrong, whatever, cool. That's one thing. Number two, the area that we're talking about is an area that is important to you in biblically, at least. Cool. I think for me, it's like, there's another conversation about the worldliness of capitalism, the worldliness of Christianity in this area. In where we are now, Christianity has really been taken over to the point where we're docile. Because the things that Christianity allows doesn't necessarily challenge the capitalist system. And we take the bits that encourage the capitalist system, like the thing about wealth and working hard. That's something that we always like to recall. But I would bet my life on it that the scriptures about working hard and capitalism comes up less than helping the needy and being humble.
Yeah, sure.
And if that's the case, then what are we doing here?
Yeah.
That's my question. I'm not even trying to tell you what to do about Gaza and that, but my thing is, if it's not a requirement as a Christian in terms of maturing in faith to get to a stage where that is something then what are we doing here? It makes me question Christians, because I'm like, so what is it about Christians that would make you so naturally docile to something that another religion or people, when they're killing Palestinians, remember, Palestine is not a religion. But Muslims are on job. At least they're aware of it, because spiritually, race is a social construct. So when I'm giving back to the man them in the ends, it doesn't even come before social justice. It's a form of social justice, but it's a choice because you're black. And our last thing would be like, so what would Jesus do? If everything we're saying stands, when we face Jesus, tell him that, remember there was an order. And if he says cool and you're cool with that, then cool. If you're okay with telling that to Jesus, not me, because you know, if it's talking to other person, it's about who can win the arc, fine. But if you can look God in that, or not in the eye, but if you could speak to God and say,
of course,
genuinely, then you're all good. And there's no argument. If you can do that, and if you feel like, then cool. That's what, and that's at the end of the day, it's God.
No, 100%. And bro, I can't lie. I think this has been a very eye-opening conversation. And I feel like it's one of those ones where it's like, from this, there's actions for everyone. You know what I'm trying to say? Definitely. And again, we're very big on this. We've spoken about it previously on the pod as well, in terms of like introspection and stuff like that. Like always, as a Christian, looking at, cool, what am I doing? Am I giving back? Everyone should have something that they're giving to. Everyone should have something that they're expending their energy in terms of trying to correct. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So I think this is definitely another one in that direction as well.
I think definitely follow Busayo, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Follow Busayo. We're talking about follow some pages. Follow Busayo and repost, man. She posts some good but challenging there.
Exactly.
Good, but fam,
it's good to be challenged.
One thing I say Busayo, fam, once you see on her story a black screen, fam. Fam, you know she's going in on that one. If you see that black screen, listen, just know, it's not nice, boy. Get me, but no, it's been a pleasure, man. Honestly, you shed a lot of light. I'm sure there'll be a lot. I'm sure there'll be.
At Beside Twins on Instagram, TikTok, but mostly Instagram.
And I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions. Or certain Christians might have questions.
If you have questions, obviously ask me. But I'm also on my journey and stuff like that, so it's not. But for me, it's more like, if I'm called to politics and I have to find a place in Christianity, otherwise the only alternative is to leave the faith. And I'm not allowing actions of fellow Christians to make me leave the faith. That means I'm not a Christian by faith, innit? It's for others. So, but it's important. Like thank you guys for even, I guess, essentially platforming me. It's important. It's important because
I can't even lie. This thing has been a long time coming.
I appreciate it. But this is how you reach different audiences as well, who might not necessarily know, but also it's your way of saying, like, in that conversation, there was an episode or episodes on this, and it reflects the times, and I think that's also important. So it just also shows you guys, you know what I mean, and what your conversation you're ready to have and what you want people to learn, without saying these are your ideas. Yeah, so it's I'm always grateful for people who are willing to
no problem.
platform. So yeah.
So when you coming back?
When you're ready,
When you
let us know.
took you like what, 2 years, 3 years?
Don't do
that.
Time is right now.
You started doing the thing about like, I'm a Christian and that.
Trust me, bro. Every time I see fam, the right way I see it. Trust me, say that. I'll see you at the Shisha Lounge next week, man. People, it's been a pleasure, man.
It's been a pleasure, man.
You get me?
Love every single time, man.
Yeah, man, love.
Thank you.